Oh, Emerald child, there's no need to be mild. You were raised to behave, but you were born to be wild. Yannick, don't panic, Fazel's on the way. Leeway's sliding through the ranks, and he's here to stay. Legacy of see you dancing in the emerald bell. Winds of facial catch your stare. Change is coming through the Nichibotsu. It's nature now, no one yet supposes. But don't fear now the threat it poses, 'cause everybody's ready for the rain of roses. This is going so fucking well already. Alright.
I guess you can forestall a little bit longer.
No, I can forestall no longer. I'm fucking using my jacket, whatever. Hello, and welcome to Rain of Roses. This has waited too long to return. Where the fuck is some paper towel? I need to get my desk clean. We are here, coming to you from a hard summer in the realm of the Emerald Rose. Oh, I'm not gonna soak this fucking jacket. Hold
on. Just couldn't contain the excitement. Goodness.
Yeah, I got everywhere. The excitement got everywhere.
Oh my gosh.
Here we are.
Yeah. The redeem.
Well, you did bad water the Lee. Oh, brilliant. Here I am.
Sorry.
Maybe I'll arrange the cams remotely in the positions they're supposed to be to add to the ambiance of the scene here. And we're back. And in fact, I believe, yeah. So if I punch this slot, what it is Wait, no, that's correct. Okay. Wait, that means bottom row. Okay. Hello, welcome, the one, the only. Oh my goodness, it's Greg Cam.
Oh God, no, don't.
Indeed. Camera frame, player 3 name, and player 3 name, let's go, is in fact Fazel. Hello, return of the Fazel. We've got adventure in the house tonight, everyone. Master of the hunt, Fazel, as we find ourselves gathered around. So here we are. And the realm knows peace for now. There have been chaotic events, however, and as the spy network grows, so too do the mounting considerations of the woes and the possibilities. And as the grain harvest comes in, the possibilities. But your possibilities are fewer this year, as you have had to issue, their secret has had to issue additional ration to draw the full levy in the war far fields. Now, our heroes find themselves at court. Not at their court in Kyots. And they are now facing the events of fucking the fall, the summer, right?
Of the flood.
The flood.
Yeah.
There didn't have to be intense flooding this summer. No. Fuck it. All right.
Sudden rains.
Yeah. Whoo. So, hello and welcome. Yes. So, the rains. It is now, as previously mentioned bajillion times by now, summer. The group is raining, and they have had a bit of a notification of. I'll just use green blocks to block as well. You see, the plans have gone well. All strife is cleared from the land. Things continue to operate. However, there is a question which comes up. Years ago, Yannick Emerald proposed a grand hunt. Now, due to various events and since sundry, it was never carried out during Sigrun's life. However, Lady Yellow von Vergrave has come into control of Koyalda by her liege's bidding, total control of Koyalda, minus the Viceroy. And she sent notification, not only of the places she intends to clear, but that she has put the hunt plan all but into effect, and she is ready, if it is her liege's wish, to this winter commence the grand hunt and seek a source of great disruption, of floods, of death, of strange happenings that none may account for who are of goodwill, and none dare breathe of who know. So we are in the council chamber as Vio has this letter and says, "What am I?" And Fazl waddles in. He's been out. He's been out also in Koyalda, and he's got a little bit of hunting. A little bit of hunting got done. Got a little bit of intel whenever Greg is ready for it. And Vio says, "According to this letter, we have a bit of a situation. The Koyaldan hunt you once proposed is prepared to go into effect. They believe, based on initial reports, that the creature is of significant size, magical in nature, and require a significant force to hem in. However, given her now considerable estates, this is within the power of your vassal, Lord Yellow von Vergrave." And he kind of puts down the letter and looks around the table. And Daiichi says, "Well, one more monster to hunt. Well, brother, I suppose this one falls to you." Boreon just kind of drums his fingers. You know, he's money man. He's not saying anything. Mito is not here because he is presently stationed in the Snake Coast, overseeing the defenses to ward off raiders. And Quartz says, "Ah!" Puts his foot up on the table and says, "So, whatever the beast is that lurks there has now been revealed. The question is, are you hunting it, or is it hunting you? And yeah, that's more or less what rules the table.
I was waiting.
That's what reigns around the table. Is all eyes turn to
Oh.
Liwei and Yannick, who Fazl, you return to the announcement that Liwei has been directly adopted into the family, and he's now brother to
Yeah.
Yannick. So we got two bros.
Oh.
Yeah, and Daiichi is the prelate. So he's Mr. Religion now, and this is a druid. Yes, Quartz. He's druid now. So you're all gathered around, and Fazl, can you give me a survival roll to see you went to see with your own eyes the situation in Koyald after hearing about beasts haggering people on the
Yes.
roads?
Sure.
So pumped for Fazl's first roll back.
Something is not working with Foundry for me. Can someone roll that for me in the meantime,
Sure.
please?
Yep. And by all means.
I
I found it. Survival, popping it, normal, bam. Also, if your internet connection is bad, it will just like take a minute before it rolls. Like a full minute.
So that's cheating. That's
I
cheating.
just had
I
the-
know that you cheated
Yeah.
that number in.
I see that number in.
You did that. Just
So, Faz, I'll say this. You have an advantage. You spent a long time. You had some help.
I still keep
Oh.
getting a blank screen. I don't know
Are
what's going
you
on.
using default Chrome?
Oh man.
Oh no, it just loaded.
Generally speaking, if it's fucking up, you want to use Edge or incognito mode.
Oh.
Default Chrome has lots of issues, and random Chrome updates that they roll out asynchronously will just break Foundry. So two people could be using Chrome, but not on the present version. And yeah, so
Wow.
you are sat around the table, and it is a time to reign and to ponder. And these are the present opinions of those here with at court, and this is the dilemma that stands before you at the present time. The question of the hunt policy.
So, the first person I would be looking to Fazel.
Mm.
Fazel, welcome back to courts. Good to see you.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be back.
So do you have any word from Koyada?
Do I have any word from
Yeah.
Corialdo?
Yeah, so here's what you got. During the Civil War, there were weird beast attacks that tried to close down the roads, and there were other strange events like floodings and minor quakes and just trees falling where they shouldn't. You poke around, you can't find the precise cause of these events, but you see enough symptoms to start to guess at it. You find strange remnants of bodies and blood of animals and people torn up in places where the energies of the woad, what you draw upon to cast your ranger's nature magic, is frayed. You find odd altars, which I'll roll a religion for you to see if you recognize what they're for.
Thanks.
Don't thank me, dude. I've rolled nothing higher than an 8 this entire time.
He's got that special DM dice. And just zero. Somehow this die came up -10. I don't know.
I'm loading your fucking dice, man. I don't know what to say. Let me put it this way. You see strange altars that seem to be to no god you recognize. Evidence of blood sacrifice. Things wrong with the nature magic in Koyalda. And the goodly peoples who you encounter and those of no ill will, who are of the woods, including the satyrs you run into again, warn you against going too deep into the woods, and tell you that there is a woe in the woad. The woad here being both the deep forest and the source of nature magic you call upon. And that whatever it is, something has forced it to Koyalda. Something else has driven it here. It would not come here if it did not have to come here. Something has pushed it out from the wilderness edge of the Empire that you border.
Oh shit.
Yes, from the deep woods where some elves and few others live, and that are beyond the Soronetto, beyond the Soul Network. And that is what Fazel knows, is that there's a big fucking problem in those woods, and something else forced it to come here. All eyes lie upon Fazel.
So when I relay that information to the party,
Mhm.
I do so gravely and say,
Something pushed a problem into that neck of the woods.
and I describe, the scene that and then, the behaviors I'd seen from the people over there and all that stuff that you mentioned. Just describe
Mhm.
that.
Yeah, so everyone gets the full description I just gave.
Give me 1 second, by the way. I'll be right back.
And so after he relays that, I would look at Quartz and I would say, what are the chances that this is something from our own lands? In other words, if I were to go and lead a raiding party into the woods, what is the chances that I would be trouncing upon somebody else's land that I should not be?
He taps his chin, and he says, "Trounce, trounce. It's mindful to trounce. But I can tell you whatever this is has trounced all over already. You will not be treading into its domain. It now treads where it will. I have spoken to the birds, and I have heard from the bees, and I have tested the lilt of the grass. I have not been to Koyalda in some time, but I hear it on the wind. Whatever this is, It is of no ken in your lands. It is not of the Emerald Vale. It is from the Walda. It is the sort of thing your Soronetto you rely upon keeps out, but something is forced in where it would not. It grows weaker here. It has to hunt more fervently. It does not want to be here, but make no mistake, it slaughters wherever it goes. And kind of rubs his chin and says, I have questions as to what could drive such a thing. If you go out and hunt it, I can think of few who would mark you foe for this, and many who would think you, if not friend, at least part of a system serving its role. Just as the hawk eats the hare that preys on the bug.
So you have no idea what could possibly be strong enough to drive this creature into our lands.
He rubs his chin and he says, there are few things. I do not want to lead my liege astray, good Yannick, but I have theories. I would voice them when I have certainties. But I can tell you this. If it be another beast, then we need not worry, for it will not follow after. But if it be a thinking mind, not an animal hunter's mind, but the sort of mind to turn itself to treacheries. He has a rock that he's turning over his hand, and he says, as he clutches it, then this would be the first stone they've cast at you, or perhaps the first you felt here in Gatoch. Indeed, perhaps they build your burial mound with tossed stones, and we are just now becoming wiser. That Scudder had a policy of hiding. Angela is not loved in the woods. It is possible that your subordinates simply have no means of recording this information. I have heard from the Circle in Koyalda of Druids. They will not tell me remotely what the problem is, but he cocks his head and says, perhaps if we have a hunting expedition, I will have occasion to call upon them directly. And face to face, we might trade words, best kept to private places.
Well, whoever is casting stones for my burial mound must cast many, many more before such a thing takes root. We will ride forth. Reach out to the druids there and let them know that the emeralds come to deal with this beast.
I shall be in contact. And, he nods, and Leo says, very good. Well then, there's only one other letter of import. And he cracks out a scroll, and he slides it across the table. And, or he comes here and he slides it across the table right next to you. And, it is addressed to Liwei, Emerald Chun Liwei and Emerald Yannick in that order. Normally they put Yannick's name first.
Oh,
Yeah,
snap.
Vio kind of nods,
no.
looks back.
And I just look over at Li Wei and I just kind of go, like, kind of like smiling, like, oh yeah.
What
So-
did I say?
So you,
This is how we do it.
yeah. So you crack open the letter. It's written in Kehoe. You definitely, at the very least, read it now. It's the courtly tongue, and it describes at length, my good and goodly sovereigns, we beseech you. As you know, the affairs of Gatoch have been muddled since time of war and strife, and we feel now is the time for dynamism. Once Yannick Emerald convinced his father Sigrin the Noble to grant great license to commission, at a wise and safe distance, an arcane distillery. And this has brought great good to the fertility of our capital, and our channeled fields now yield yet more. We seek again license to innovate, not on behalf of one enterprise, but on behalf of all enterprises. And it says, we, the River Merchants Guild and the Association of Merchants of Gatoch, do hereby request the license to operate across all districts of the city without distinction by license, and submit ourselves to whatever new office or fees or duties shall be necessary to facilitate this change. Now then, I don't think that Yannick takes great note of the affairs of merchants, broadly speaking. Fazil, maybe kind of, but not. I think you're more about the woods.
Excited to get back out in the woods again.
Yeah, so you're more about the woods. You're not. But here's the thing, Li Wei. Li Wei spent some years doing some business with some people. And he knows that the most common complaint is that to do business in Gatoch, you need a per-district license. And if you want to do business across, you either need somebody on the far side with it, or you need some sort of special situation. For example, in Templetown, the temple will hand it out if you make... if they don't. It's not a pay-for-play thing, strictly speaking, but people who are good donors and who are known to be pious just seem to get them. And there's all this, bureaucratic red tape, and part of it's just
Graft.
graft. It takes forever. There's definitely corruption involved. There's definitely, even if it's not illegal, it's still scumbaggery, right? Even if what they're doing is technically legal, everyone involved knows they're holding up the commerce for no good reason. And this is tradition. This is quote unquote how it's always been. Although technically speaking, these laws aren't ancient. They come from a time when the town was expanding rapidly, and there were many fires because people were building recklessly, and there was a big crackdown to control reckless building, and that wound up carrying down today to the present license system. They say, whatever we have to do, even if we have to pay more money than we do right now, we want a universal business in Gatosh license.
Okay.
So like a BOA? Business Owners Association or something like that?
So the river merchants and an association of merchants have asked for it. There's other artisans and people who this would apply to, but the merchants are the hardest hit because they want to stockpile and sell across different districts. Because if you have an imported load of tchotchkes in the warehouse district and you want to sell them at stalls in the temple district, you either need to take the markup of a guy who has it, the license in the temple district in Templetown, or get one yourself.
Or you're left with taking your goods elsewhere legally, but either way, whether they do it, wouldn't it drive prices in a bad direction wherever they're leaving to go sell those goods at?
Yeah, so it does drive up prices across the board, and it somewhat slows commerce. It catches funds sometimes into the government's hands, but often not really functionally up to the top level of the government's hands. So it's a leaky cauldron effect on the economics, and it's not popular with the people. Often don't know that they're feeling the effects of this, but they would be glad for lower prices.
Why don't they just charge fairly within their own cities?
This is within this city. These are within districts of this city.
I mean, within their own district?
There are 5 or 6 districts of the city, yeah, and you need.
So that they don't have to go over and sell it in another district.
They don't have to, but most people aren't going to walk across town to the docks to buy something. They often don't have the time because they're either busy working or there's some other consideration.
Gotcha.
Right.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So that's the situation, and it's important to note that they say we don't care what the method is. Li Wei, something occurs to you. So you've had a lot of conversations with people who are interested in your new position, who are business associates, shall we say, and you've been lobbied with 2 different ideas thus far. Item 1, a straight flat fee. Pay us 100 gold a year. Done.
Okay.
That is going to give a nice injection to the wealth of the capital. The capital's wealth will climb from the present 0 to 1 as you recapture more of the business in that way. you will abolish all of the subsects, and in the process of raising more money for yourself, you will reduce opportunities for graft. There's another way, which is that you would keep it at a what is called an appraisal of the guest, which is a funny way of saying you're going to have city agents handle setting different business license prices, and you are going to have more face-to-face interaction surrounding this. It's going to be a less simple transaction. Here's the thing. Those agents report directly to the capital here in Three Hill. They're directly to Three Hill. They're across the city. These citywide inspectors would go everywhere to every kind of business and talk to all kinds of people and have legitimate cause to inquire strongly about all of their business without ever seeming out of the ordinary. It will not be a significant enough bump in money, and it will be an opening for graft. But you're going to get more info.
Yeah.
And you're going to get more connections, and you're going to have more leverage.
Yeah.
So Li Wei is right there with Yannick looking at this proposal, and Yannick, no one's bothered to lobby you on this because everyone remembers how you clowned on that merchant that one time, and they're like, perhaps it is best if you do not ask Yannick about this fun. Yeah, maybe Li Wei. I'm thinking he might be more receptive to this fun. So here we have the letter to the two sovereigns, but obviously leaning one way, and
yes. So in this case, I've been racking my brain a little bit since this idea was introduced last time. Li Wei, was thinking that he was on the straight and narrow, that he had transcended past all the petty crime, all that stuff. But he did notice that there was a benefit, as far as at the very least, a little bit of the shady dealings with our spy network, with the intel that we were able to get. There were lives that were saved, especially presumably at the conflict where the plan was to be able to get the innocent people out, so that those capable of fighting would stay, so that we could spring that trap. And that wouldn't have been possible without intel, without information. And with that in mind, Li Wei is leaning towards that. I believe you called it the appraisal of the guest.
Yeah, the appraisal.
In which case,
yeah. So does Li Wei start laying that one out? We could do an appraisal.
Yeah, absolutely. Because information. We've been able to get so far with it. We've been able to do so much. Having that intel, having those connections, I feel like that alone is worth more than the wealth we could accumulate from that fee.
Vorian also says, and the appraised variable fee that comes from the appraisal of the guest would help encourage those to do business perhaps have less means, and those who have more means to pay comfortably. And so Vorian, the Chamberlain, seems to be in favor of this. Vio says, of course our appraisers will be able to walk across the city unquestioned. It is always good to know what happens in one's home. And he seems to go to it. Quartz is picking his nails. He doesn't seem to give a shit. Daiichi is kind of like
Quartz.
Daiichi is like his eyes are open, but he's clearly just trying to stay awake. He definitely doesn't give a shit either.
Oh no.
So right now on the council, and Fazil, did you voice aloud your opinion as it was read out?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And you're coming down pro, or which side are you coming down on? Pro. Okay. So it looks like, Yannick, you're looking around, and we've got a lot of people for this appraisal of the guest policy.
So I would look to Li Wei and I would say, you now hold the title. What was the title that Mother gave him? There was a term.
The steward.
You are the steward. You are
Right.
the steward here. You understand matters of money better than I do. And at any decision like this, I would appreciate some type of a heads up, but I leave it to you to make the decision and put your name to it, followed by mine.
Right.
The only thing that I would caution is to always think of our people first. Money, you can't take that to the grave.
Right.
Right. And our people should always be first. Right. And I will not stand for others abusing people in order to get ahead and stand upon the heads of others, merely to increase their wealth.
Right. I understand.
But you make the decision. I trust you, and I will back whatever decision you make.
Thank you, brother. And with that, Leeway will opt for the appraisal of the guest.
All right, so the appraisal of the guest is presently the new set policy. It's just a policy. You don't have to spend anything to make it happen. Oh, the cameras have shifted, and we have, oh my goodness,
We
Faisal.
have Faisal!
We have Faisal Cam.
Basil has returned.
Faisal returned.
Yes!
All right, so we return to the emailed veil political map for a moment here, right? And we go to main, and you guys have set the policy. Gatach remains a zero-income capital, but you begin to hear more things in the coming weeks, and you begin to know of the deeds of those who seem to walk in the light, who have their feet dipped in the shadow, and you hear about whose dealings are more and less honest, and who may be bought, and what is sold where, and what is sold where less people know of it, and what is sold that is not to be sold. And this information is yours to do with as you wish as it grows your network. And
Great.
there is a question now. So Koyalda, the Great Hunt is an action. Due to the fact that Jill von Vergrave has been able to pool her own resources, this action is much cheaper than it would be normally. You have an option. You can either tap Koyalda, double tapping it, adding a strife to get the rest, or you can use your capital influence, as you've not used any type of capital influence yet this turn, summer, to gain one infrastructure, which you spend on performing the Great Hunt action.
Considering that we will be sallying forth, the three of us, I think that would make the most sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. Unless we have an alternative lobby, that is how it's going to go. So, you all put out thine resources, and it is worth noting something. At present, your forces stand at you have 4 companies in the Hearthspanner at present time: the Flathead Ashigaru, the Heartwood Piercers, the Veil Blades, and the Emerald Fists, who are newly constituted and arrive in their full armor and with fine horse, with red painted Yumi bows on their side and blades at their hip. The Emerald Fists are the triple threat. They ride, they walk, they shoot.
Oh, they'll be going. They need.
Yeah.
I want to see what they can do
you want,
on this
yes.
hunt.
So you're bringing them on the hunt, absolutely. You do know that if the beast is of great considerable size, spearmen are going to be very helpful at hemming them in. And here's the thing about the heart. So here's the thing to note about the Flathead Ashigaru and the Heartwood Piercers. They've been through 2 wars in less than a year. Numbers depleted. The Veil Blades have been a mix of lucky and in the right place at the right time. The Heartwood Piercers and the Flathead Ashigaru will eventually need to be replenished if you want to see those companies tick back up to full strength. Every one that you see a Sleepy on is a unit that is not put on the board when you take them to battle. So, just in keeping in mind, this is a hunt. Maybe you won't need that many, and there's gonna be some archers there from her, right? But you know you're having a fight in spring, and you got 2 units who are a little nicked right now, and your resources all stand up in spring as well. So that's a thing to balance.
We will be taking one of the squads of the Flatheads with us. I believe that the Vergrave, we see the archers come out of there are
Quite good.
leagues above anyone else that we have. We will not be bringing our own archers. They will be staying back.
All right.
I will be bringing one company of Veil Blades just to kind of round things out, and my Emerald Fists because they need tempered.
Yeah,
They've
we're
gone
gonna
through
see.
training. We need to see their temper in battle.
We gotta see
Yeah.
that temper in battle. Let's fucking go. So you arrive in Koyolda by boat, and you find yourselves. You find yourself traveling upon the road. Your forces with you, and not this particular mix of forces, rather, but nor upon the Snake Coast, but you know, Vio,
whoops.
Vio, and actually, yeah, you can bring Vio or not.
Oh yeah, no, VO would be going, and I would be dragging my druid out to. I think Quartz
Yeah.
needs to take his feet off the table for a little
Yeah,
bit.
no, Quartz
maybe
Quartz,
get some dirt under there.
Quartz hops down, and he's eager to get in it. He's eager to get
imagine.
in it.
Yes.
So, and you have your various forces with you. You have your Butai Ritter. You have everybody assembled, and you have some flatheads, and you have a lot of dudes around. Bobrin is, of course, also here.
Those would have been the first ones tagged out to go. Like,
yes.
Yeah. And you guys travel. You travel by boat, and you travel.
oh
by
wait,
foot
no,
into
sorry,
the
I
wood.
meant Ichi. We're
Yeah.
dang,
Iki,
I
yeah.
have so many people. Like,
Oh
I
no!
have all their damn
To be
names straight.
clear. Iki and
Yes.
Kurai as your bodyguards.
Yes,
are at your
they
side.
always go.
They're
Yes,
always they're at your side. Von Ortel acts as he's the most veteran in the Poop Gang, and so he acts as like the holder of the van ceremonially or whatever. You don't have to necessarily put him in charge, but he's pretty good at drilling people. So he gets people lifting knees to chest and loading on boats and moving their equipment.
So, quick question. This is kind of flavoring, but I just to double check. Out of Iki and Kurai, who seems to be like, who can lead people in a charge better?
You think if you wanted to put someone in charge of a charge, you'd put Kurai. Kurai is a young, fiery, ambitious man who is a very eat shit and die attitude when it comes to battle. And Iki is a bit more calm, tempered, the better duelist, the better teacher, but not necessarily going to inspire the men in a grand charge with a huge roar. You know what I mean?
So I'm thinking this is just for future stuff and to kind of keep them in mind. I think that I'm always going to have Iki by my side.
Mm-hmm.
And whenever I'm not out traveling, I think that I'm going to have him tasked to train our men and women. And I'm going to put Kurai in charge of one of the squad or the companies or squads of Emerald Fists.
Yes.
Sick.
So, yeah, and his eyes light up, and he hits his chest, and he says, "My liege, I won't let you down. We'll achieve great victory over whatever menace this is in the woods, and show them that the Emerald Vale is no easy pickings." And he says, "Man, women, everyone, I don't know what we're going in there to fight, but I can tell you this. Whatever color its blood is, we're gonna be drenched in it." And, he's already whipping them up. And you guys travel, and before too long, you arrive, and I'm going to just filter in.
Yay,
the type-
Cha-Cha's with us again.
Yeah, Cha-Cha once
Yes.
more. Cha-Cha real
Hey,
smooth.
So real smooth.
Yeah,
Uh,
and Kurai will be with them. So you find yourselves at the hunt. You're in Koyalda. Lady Jilla von Vergrave is here. There are several outriders, sometimes on light horse, sometimes there are scouts, and there are many archers spread throughout, and many scouts. And she has basically like every 100 feet, you see another little cluster, and she has formations of units built for like prepared for battle. But then she has these scouts who are basically running a dragnet, and she kneels and she says, "My liege, It is good to see you. We have finally made the last of the preparations. Your carts and men and resources have been paramount in completing this job. I remember when you proposed this, when you were a slightly younger man, already a brilliant hunter. Things have grown worse in the meantime, but now it's time to show them our mettle.
I was taught by the very best who actually is joining us today. And it's well for you to set this up. We are ready.
Indeed. And, yeah, with a nod to Basil. And Quartz walks out, and he's got a severe look on him like you've never seen. And he says, "The wind is fell. There. That cleft." And she says, "That's within the net, yes? We think we could drag it there. I'm going to have to reveal it, however." And Quartz says, "I will assist you. Get it down there, and I'll make sure it can't leave." And he looks really serious. And Jella kind of looks at you and says, "Indeed, my good court druid, it shall be so." And he says, "We will sow this day, but we will reap more in blood. Let us pray there is soil left to tend when it is over." He's very serious about this. As you guys hear trumpets, horns, woo woo, woo woo, and you are beginning to hear signs of action and movement, and there is a you have your steeds, of course, or not, Jesus. So there is heavy wood. It's hard to move unless you're on Cha-Cha, but you hear a huge crashing of wood, and arrow after arrow after arrow flies, and there is motion that's hard to make out. Roll and investigate. You see in the distance like woods trees are being punted far into the sky. There's a ripping of dirt and ground.
All of us?
Yeah, anybody who's trying to figure out what the hell is going on.
All right.
I know that there is trees out there.
Yeah.
Come on, Fassel. You gotta help us, Fassel.
All right, I'll
Yeah.
do it,
Master of
Sean.
the
I'm
hunt,
not
baby.
necessarily good at it.
We're
but-
counting on you.
Cha-cha slide.
Oh,
Yes!
There we go,
That's
that's
much better.
Not better. Not bad. Much better.
So, yeah. And let me just, So, there was a great crashing in the woods, and there is shooting, and you see, Yannick and Leeway, you can get nothing. Basil, you have Cha-Cha, hop onto a little bush, you take a look, and you see something warping through the trees, or wrapped by the trees. It's hard to tell, but as you see it, it starts to burn a little at your mind. You see two huge, and I mean longer than an average castle, silver horns. Deep green flesh that wraps like the trees behind it, and slicks of mud where it's beginning to dig into the dirt. As Quartz hangs back and raises his hands, and you see fire, black fire emerge from both of them, and you see treetops burst into this flame every once in a while, blazes erupting, splinters flying, and Jello says, "There now, it's bound." And she gesticulates, and three people who look like hedge wizards come up behind her with graven staves, and they slam them into the ground and begin chanting. She says, "My liege, now is the hour. I will reveal the foe." And her eyes roll back a little. She raises her hand. She whispers something just at the edge of breath. And you see it stomp into existence, the trees flying apart, as you can all witness what now lies ahead. This is the woe in the woad. It towers, the length of castles above. It is well over the 25-foot incline you're at. The trees and ground around have been destroyed, the wood pulped, and the forces arrayed pour fire into the enemy. And there are emerald archers there are emerald archers all around as they put missile fire into the foe. Arrow after arrow after arrow strikes its strange ligaments. Its tendrils reach out to grab and hit the enemy, and it looks like it's trying to approach the black fires to the edge, and it's trying to move. And more importantly, this thing, when it starts to move, it can move 100 feet, 200 feet in a sudden lurch. It dives through the mud and rips up the ground. And you have your units that you have brought with you in reserve here, and her units are presently just raining fire on it. And Court says, "In the middle." And he's got, like, the black fire is pouring from his hands, and he says, "In the middle is where you'll find it. Cut it. Kill it. They've bled it as far as its outer shell will bleed." And you see this thing looks horribly fucked up. Purple blood is spattering all over the field. However, it's not dead yet. And it doesn't look like it's dying soon if no one can get in there, hem it down, and then make a fucking pass at it. It's time for a little... It's time for a little heroism, and your units, you can deploy them around the circle wherever you want, no further in than the archers are right now. And you can tell me whether or not you want the Emerald Fists dismounted.
Oh man. So before I do any of that, so I would be in charge of one of the Emerald Fists unit.
Yeah.
And this is all muddy, spiky ground that looks completely inhospitable to horses, yeah?
Oh yeah, no, this place is fucked. Broken trees everywhere. It's like a logging camp where no one bothered to gather the logs they cut down and just smashed everywhere. Yeah.
So we would be dismounting. Now, I leave it before I say what I want to do and I start deploying troops. I want to know where Leeway and Fazil want to be. Do you want to be with me? Do you want to be in charge of a unit? Because my understanding is that if you are head of a unit, they get better actions. They and they're less likely to rout.
You can.
Yeah, I gotta pull up my rule set here.
Yeah, by default it's the same unit, but you can trigger special units. You can trigger special commands, and like get them to do stuff they wouldn't otherwise by virtue of being there and leading them strongly. So there's that. There's also the fact that you guys think that you're gonna need to fight this thing like hero on monster together. Although, I would note, there's 200 feet to a side, so that's a broad engagement width. But if, say, your dear liege ate shit, you might want to be, I don't know, within a certain range to heal it.
Yeah.
So, Leeway, you've seen me in battle enough times now. You can already see the words that are about to come out of my mouth. So you know what's about to happen. I mean...
Yes.
Basil, you basically half raised me. You know what's about to happen. So it's up to you where you two want to be, and then I'll deploy the troops from that information.
Are you thinking about climbing that thing?
We're charging in. We're going in.
Yeah.
We're going in deep. I'm going to cut my way through this outer shell, and I'm going to reach the heart of that thing. I'm going to rip it from its chest, and I'm going to walk out taking a bite of it.
Yeah, that was. You know what? You did good, kid.
What you thinking, Fazil?
So I would like to know if anyone's good at climbing. Because I'm thinking about taking a contingency of climbers and cutting our way in.
So, the Veil Blades are foresters. They're going to be able to ignore a lot of the difficult terrain from the woods as best they can. They don't have Escalade, which is the climb one. Sadly, you don't have the Gascon skirmishers with you today. But they'll do a decent job, but they are still men climb trees, and the kind of time you can expect that and the kind of difficulty you can expect that to take.
Okay, so no.
Yeah, it won't be effortless for them. They're no Spider-Man.
I'll go with you then. I don't need to meet anybody because we're doing the same thing if we're going rushing in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm inclined to go with if I can, I'd like to head one of the troops that would be at the same pace as the prince or as the king, and I would like to move. I'd like kind of a slightly different angle. I want to still be within range of the king, but be in a position where this beast would have to look in one way or the other.
Okay.
Essentially making it so that it would, whichever way it's looking, it will have to focus, and then it'll be open to attack from the other direction.
Okay. So
Leeway. My intent is to take one of the squads of Butai Ritters and strike from the south. Seems to
Okay.
be the least treacherous way. I was going
Great.
to tell Kurai
Mhm.
with the other set of Emerald Fists, along with the Flatheads, to
Mhm.
strike either from the north over here, so the northwest,
Mhm.
or from the northeast. So I'm coming
Okay.
up from the bottom. They can be striking from one direction. If you want to take another direction,
Yeah, I'll come from the west.
you come from the west. All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you're coming out from the west, and you're gonna be with the flatheads.
Yeah, let's go.
All right. Due to how this is all shaped up, so you're in there with Bobrin, and yeah, I think
where's my other agent? Where's he? I can never remember his name because it's super long.
Von Ortel?
Yeah, Von Ortel.
Yeah, so Von Ortel is
Yeah,
probably,
Ike.
unless you put him somewhere
There you
else,
go.
he would come in with you. But yeah, Veilblade absolutely says, "My
Yes,
liege,
and-
I shall bring the men in hard and fast."
I want the Veil Blades along with the Emerald Fist. So all of that entire group, the Ashiguri,
Mhm.
the Veil Blades, and the Emerald Fists are going to be coming from that direction. Or I'm sorry, that's right. Leeway is taking the Veil Blades,
Mhm.
correct?
Leeway is but no, he's right now he's with the flatheads. You could
Oh,
switch
the
up.
Flatheads. Sorry.
Okay.
So you take the Flatheads. The Veil Blades are going to stick with the Emerald Fists then.
All right, so
Great.
he's coming up. He says, "My liege, I shall cover your flanks."
And so we would be walking to begin with,
Yeah,
right?
so
We've dismounted,
yeah,
and I look back at the Veil Blades, or excuse me, at the Emerald Fists, and I say, "Now it is time to test your mettle. Now it is time to test your courage." And I unsheath my sword, and I start to walk faster, and it's like it's starting to build up, and I'm starting to jog, and I raise my sword up, and oh, damn, what the hell's this Providence's name? There's so many names.
Coyalda,
Lee!
Coyalda.
And I'm like, I bellow out. It's like, for Coyalda and for the Emerald Rose and
At that moment, Jello von Vergrave takes that moment to give a final order of fire, and arrows just sort of like rain in from all over. Most of them crash helplessly, but some penetrate towards the eyes. And yeah, it seems like you have actually gotten a little bit of extra damage on it from that, as arrows, but at the same time, lots of it sort of like, it's like a little stick in jelly, but the jelly didn't matter for the continued function of the whole. So some of those eyes are bleeding pink purple right now. Yannick, give me your choice of persuasion or performance with advantage, because yeah, these guys are about to charge. I mean, you look at this thing, and it is unsettling. It is green flesh, purple eyes, huge horns, these weird, like, jaw things. It's not clear it even has a mouth.
Oh my god!
You're doing a good job, but here's the thing. It lets out an eldritch ooh! And it like, everything starts to hear, like, nails on chalkboard ringing their brains. As all of the units are starting to move forward, these Emerald Fists are having to cut through some wood, but they're emerging towards... the flatheads are up in some rock. You guys are moving in here, and you're getting into the difficult terrain now. And everybody make a wisdom save. All the player characters are making wisdom saves.
All right. Uh-oh.
That's
Oh!
pretty good.
Yikes.
Dudes.
Oh, yikes.
Oh,
Fuck!
no!
What? No!
All right,
no!
so here's how this goes down. And oh yeah, Kurai. One moment. Oh, Kurai.
Wait, were these supposed to be at advantage?
No, if you have something involving frightened, yes, but no, mostly no. Okay, so here's what happens. Kurai sees this shit happening, and he has a response, a fight or flight response. It's not flight, but he loses his grip, and he just screams out and runs in. His Emerald fists follow him, but they're not like morale is already falling.
Oh my gosh.
Yannick, you do a decent job spurring the people on, but the morale is suffering, and you are frightened, which means disadvantage on attacks against this thing, for the most part. Von Ortel says, "Men, remember yourselves. We fight with Yannick Ebrod. Pull in. Remember your trading. We're not all going to live, but if you break ranks and run, your brothers and all will die. Now fight! Fight! For us!" And that's enough. The units that are with you actually regain their lost morale. He does so good, and his words are so
Great.
inspiring. Yannick, make your wisdom save once more. Li Wei, you're scared. You're seeing something horrible, and you know what?
Yeah.
You've seen horrible and terrifying things before you come to the other side. Let's fucking go.
Nice.
Ike gets Yannick pumped up.
Oh yeah,
And-
yeah, Ike does.
and-
I think Fazil is with that group too. So would he
Yeah,
get
Fazil
another
is
roll?
with us.
Fazil, you down there. Fazil, give me one more wisdom save.
Oh hell yes.
And Bobrin, it's like the captain slides, grabs his head, ears bleeding, hits his head on a rock. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, chain of command, Leeway!" And Bobrin just stands up, grabs the standard, and says, "Get in there! We're gonna cut this thing to pieces!" And yeah, Bobrin, you can tell from his eyes that he's actually shitting himself scared. But he knows if you break morale now, all you're gonna do is die with your back turned to the enemy. So Bobrin, despite his fear, is whipping up the men. We can't stop now. It doesn't matter if the captain is down with a fucking concussion. We are going.
I think
I
Bobrin is scarier than this thing is.
I love that the random guy that happened to fall into the pit that was like, "Hey, what's that guy's name?" The fodder now is leading the charge.
He was
Right?
He was supposed to die. He was supposed to die, and
Bro
you
was
know what?
coming through.
Leeway's spell saved his life and changed fate. I did not expect this guy to be alive. I didn't even name him. So yeah,
Oh
once
my-
more, fate is made. We see how this fucking goes for y'all because so your forces clash against an eldritch abomination creature of the wood of some sort. The spears do a lot better. Let me put it that way. In this clash, the spears are considered to be better than or equivalent. Everybody else is not the right type to fight against a horror beast. Casualties, morale loss, oh my, arrows raining in, but there's a limit to how much can be done at this point. They're getting in there, and despite it all, the Emerald Fists are dancing, and they're more lightly armored than a traditional heavy ritter. They're spry on their feet. They're in the mud, but they're not on a horse, so they're finally able to move around. When a beat comes down and slams into the mud, it shimmers like it's trying to be somewhere else, and something about the creature's instincts seem wrong. Fazil, anybody who wants to examine it could roll me a nature or survival, but this gives them an opportunity. They're hopping up on it, they're chopping into these tendrils with their blades. Tentacles are coming off with purple blood and meat going everywhere. You guys are all around the enemy. Your units are the reason why you have not just been, you are in the woods.
That's all I know. Oh, fucking Leeway though.
Yes!
The man of the city. How the tides have turned.
I know all about weird stuff.
All right, so Basil, you get the sense that this is it's relying on an instinct it can't access, an ability it can't access right now. Between what Quartz is doing and what Lady Jella von Beargrave have done to anchor it and force it to be fully visible and harmable, it is fighting in a way it's never had to fight before, and it's fighting for its life and it's scared. It's probably about to get way more intense because it is a thrash to survive.
Gotcha.
So
Goodness.
We're charging in on this thing, right? I mean, it's going. I've got both hands on the blade, and it's about to get a handful of Bull's Kiss.
Mhm.
I yell back at Fazil. I'm seeing everything that's happening here, and you can see all this weird shit happening and flopping around. And I yell at him. I'm like, "Is this something that could be reasoned with?"
I've never seen a tree like that in my life.
It's Leeway, you got a hard no here. You think that this is an animal. Because you've heard of an aphorism. A human, if they are snared in a trap, will lie in wait, hoping to catch the person who said it. But an animal will gnaw their leg off to escape. And the gnawing is about to be on your front lines. You're flanking it right now, but this thing is a little omnidirectional in terms of its tentacles. Its body doesn't have a deliberate front and back. But you're coming at it from all angles. You're assaulting it with all force. Its tentacles crashing in the sides of logs, the smallest ones. Houses, the more moderate ones. Wide, thick keep towers, the largest ones. Crashing around. Beating the pulp. I mean, you see, like, contingents of men turn to blood as it crashes down. And everyone keeps fighting. When the spears manage to catch it, sometimes only the first man dies. Sometimes it actually whips out. There is blood whipping free from all of it. There is a mist. There is a rain. All of you are slaked purple in blood even before you've cut it. Because it is bleeding all over you. And you charge forward, and Liwei, you think you see a point at its folds right in the middle between you and Yannick, where you could punch through, and it seems like it's trying to guard. It seems like it's trying to guard that point.
Okay.
You are you are all in melee with this thing, or you're within 100 feet of this thing. Roll me whatever spell you would, cast whatever spell you would, as, it's winding up for another wave of attack. As all of the spears are digging in, the blades are hacking, people are crying out, people are lolling back dead, just like, sheer beat, like, people are getting pitched 100 feet, cracked neck, cracked spine before they even hit the dirt. Twisted bodies and armor.
Okay, you said that there's a point. There's just this opening that it's guarding that I could potentially we could punch through.
It's got a heavy wound in its southwest, and it is definitely guarding it. It's like anyone comes near, they die even faster. The soldiers are realizing this, and they're not going in on it.
Okay.
Because the soldiers see how intense the action is there.
Right.
It's clearly just taking like preventative blows, striking at nothing to reinforce. Don't come near this. It's flailing. It's trying to stay alive desperately.
I would like to, if I can get within 120 feet of that point, I'd like to cast Dancing Lights to make 4 lights, and I'm going to make them a bright green. And essentially, I want them to kind of, I want each of them to kind of swirl around in smaller and smaller circles to form like a bullseye. And call out, "King! The target is there!"
Alright, yeah, so Yannick Fazl, you see a big fucking target painted by Liwei.
I know what I'm doing, Fazl. You want to declare?
Yeah.
So
Basil is going to cast Fairy Fire.
Nice.
He'll do so by like kind of like making a clicking sound, and a bunch of cicadas, like firefly type cicadas, will just do the fairy fire.
Alright, yeah, so buzzing light cicadas emerge. The sound of just screaming and clattering carapace emerges all around, and it is impossible to miss the target they're highlighting, yeah? And that's a save, right?
Yes, I believe dexterity.
Alright, it tries to flail its bits to try and just, like, whip it out, swick them off. Oh, it does.
Yikes.
The bugs emerge, it flies them high. So at this point, Liwei has cast a spell, Fazl cast a spell. Yannick, you wind up bursting the breach alongside Eichen von Ortel to charge for the target. I'm assuming Fazl and Liwei are charging as well. Give me your attacks, plural I should say, for he has several, Yannick.
So would these be at regular, or with the targeting? Would that do anything with advantage?
Right now, it's not giving you advantage because the lights are more guiding like the masses than one person to strike.
Okay, give me 1 second. I just want to.
Hmm?
Okay, so you get 1 bonus action per round, correct?
Correct. Even if you search.
Okay. Okay. So, okay. So is this high up? This is just all fluff, anyways. But is it high up?
You are down in the mud and the dirt and the broken stumps.
And where is this target being lit up? Is it down at a?
It's right across its body. It's like 5 feet up, but like it's kind of hard to tell because the body is rising and lowering. But yeah, it's like a slight up.
So I'm digging through the ditches and burning through the witches and slam and right. And I'm jumping onto this. I see a perfectly knocked over tree, and I run up and I've got Bull's Kiss in both hands, and I just bellow. I'm like, aim for the lights, and like I hope that I get out of the way first because I'm anime jumping through the air with both hands and swinging. And as I kind of do it, I'm trying to kick off of this thing so that it drops its guard as I do the old emerald feint.
All right, yeah. So you hit it, you impact it, you twist, and it starts to turn, starts to flail, but it's not thinking it moves through, and you give it the old razzle dazzle.
Yes.
That's damage.
So that's plus 1d8.
Your feint strikes true, blood emerging, the wound starting to tear.
And so I'm using that. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead. I've got a lot of stuff to go.
You see a weak point in the membrane. You see more pink blood, and like the body is ripped below. And like if you just beat through this wall of meat, you're going to be able to punch through into its core.
So number one, I'm going to use my second attack.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also going to be doing action surge as well if I don't make it through this. I actually had a question about that. I never knew how this works. So if I use action surge, is that 2 extra attacks then? Because
correct. So you're pumping out 4 attacks. Yes.
All right. So yeah. So I see this thing and I am trying to just swing Bull's Kiss to get through it because I'm going inside of this. Like it's like I'm going inside to just dig in as much as I can. So let me give you that second attack. That would be at normal because I did my feint already. Attack normal.
Hit.
Yes.
Rolling damage.
Yup, that's a further 10 damage. You hack deeper into it. Your blade is in there. You're hacking around.
And so that's whenever I just feel rage coming up on me. Like, I've got to save my people. Like, my people are dying outside. And so all of my adrenaline kicks in and I kick off that action surge. And so I do an attack with that.
Your blade hacks again, ripping through it. Like it's less like you're cutting flesh and more like you're splitting wood with how thick this meat is. But you break the skin again. Give me the damage. Uh-huh.
Nice.
You're cutting through. It's fucked up. Is that your third attack or fourth attack?
That's my third. Ready for 4?
You ready for 4?
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 short from the crit. Yeah, give me the damage.
Man. I was hoping. Nice.
A regular lumberjack indeed, our lad. You hit him hard. He's bleeding all over. The barrier is perhaps halfway closer to open than it was before. Li Wei, you're hung back. You're watching the scenario. What are you doing?
Li Wei's gonna charge in there too. I mean, it's not gonna be quite as stylish, but he's gonna try to throw in a little slash in there, and he'll probably throw in a little bardic inspiration over towards Fazel as well.
Nice.
It's like
hell yeah!
It's like it's been a minute. It's been a while.
It's true.
So-
Fazel needs his moment in the spotlight.
Let's go. So here will be the attack with Guilt Burr.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's taken me a second. Oh, no!
I'm sorry, I juiced the dice, man.
Indeed. But remember, I presume you have in the other hand. In the other hand, do you bear Wind Fang?
Oh, I don't have that in my inventory.
Wait, okay, hold on. I'll put it in your inventory right now. One moment.
Oh, sick.
So yeah, you have that wind rapier in hand.
Okay.
And Windfang is about you.
All right.
And inventory. Bang.
Sick.
All right. Yeah, you have it.
All
So
right.
you want to give me a stab from that for double thrust? This is
I
we see
would
it
love
emerges.
to.
Yeah. All right.
Let's see what we can do here. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Okay.
You ram it home. Give me
23.
that damage.
Okay.
The traitor's
let's
blade
go.
put to a good cause.
Sick.
You're
Okay,
all
that'll
in.
be 7 points.
You're pressing through the meat. You're stabbing in. A flap opens up, and you see strange tendrils moving, like bloodworms swirling around inside of the creature's core. And, hey, guess what, Basil? You're feeling bardically inspired,
Yes.
and the enemy's
Hell yeah.
almost exposed. What do you want to do?
By the power of God.
I'm gonna use a bonus action.
Mhm.
To cast Zephyr Strike.
All right.
Ooh.
It will give me advantage on one attack, and
Remember, you have your cool new sickles.
yep, and it'll deal 1d4, 1d8 force damage on a hit. Whether I hit or miss, I get extra 30 feet walking speed, so I can
Nice.
All right.
close the distance to that thing.
You
a
speed
little
in like the
faster?
wind, leaping from Cha Cha's back to hook in your blade. Let's see it. The blue crystal scraping side slings in, with the energy of the Devuvion racing through it.
So now is that one? That one is at advantage, though.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, that's an advantage, and you hit.
Oh, sick.
Yes.
Okay. I'm also gonna do a D6 with my swarm on top of that D8.
All right, the swarm emerges, and insects just patter through. Cut. Weaken the hole. You slice through. It's
Yes!
almost open. All right. You have the breach ready, and all right.
Nice.
Oh, my bad. That was a D10. It's supposed to be a D8.
All good. Just pop one from the roll table. Yep.
Yep, there it
7.
is.
Nice.
Nice.
All right. So
Dang.
you're
there
all
it
in there.
is.
You're all in close, right? There's purple blood flying all over, and there's a huge tendril coming up to. yeah.
Me,
Yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I have extra attack.
Oh.
Yeah, let's go.
Use it.
I also have offhand attack.
Yeah. Oh, didn't you cast a bonus action?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, bonus action, but
Yeah, but give me that other one. You've given them the rake, give them the steak, you've given them the blue. Let's see the purple. The purple crystal scraping side comes out, radiating energy, striking the foe. Give me that damage.
Holy
Yes.
shit.
And yeah, you're about to crush through. Okay, you're almost through. It's barely there. It slinks down, and all of its tendrils reap through to crush you. Everyone, make me a strength save.
Ooh.
I think I'll use the bardic inspiration. on this
Saving
one.
throw or ability check?
Saving throw.
Is it how much is
What?
it now? A D5?
Yeah. What was the?
Oh no.
What's
Oh,
the?
God,
What's
a
the
3?
target here?
I
Lee?
don't think I'm not gonna
The
waste
DC
it.
is 15.
So yeah, I
yeah.
am. No. So I'm seeing this thing coming in, right?
Mhm.
And I start to try and brace myself, and I can see that whatever is about to happen is going to be bad. And I remember once upon a time when I fell into a river beneath a bridge, that this is not where I die. And
Yes!
I'm redoing that saving throw.
Let's go.
If that's okay.
No, absolutely. You are. That's
Okay.
your ability.
Yeah!
Yeah. Okay.
Standing firm. I hope that was fucking worth it.
Oh yeah, 5 extra damage. The small, even the smallest, come up and scrape a little, and as Basil grips on with both blades, purple and blue rakes pulling through, sizzling energy, you see a scar opening up. It's almost there. Yannick, you hold off. Everybody else is about to be punched away and really fucked up. But Iki kicks off a nearby tree stump and gives a swirling attack with Katana and Wakizashi. He cuts the middle of the arm, but in the process winds up in the middle of its wound and gets thrown away hundreds of feet. He blunts the attack upon you, however. So you're Basil and Li Wei, you're not getting punted, you're getting knocked down, and you are suffering half of this damage.
But they'll get up again.
Yeah, and they're gonna keep me down. So 10 bludgeoning and 20 bludgeoning. And you guys, it's right there before you.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
May I interrupt you really quick? Was that a physical attack?
Yes, it was.
Yes. So, as I kind of see this tendril coming in, I kind of brace myself, and the flashback happens, and I jump out of the way, and I bring my sword around with a good old riposte.
Give me that.
Snap!
Yeah,
so that should be, that takes me down 2. Let me double check. I think this is just a normal attack.
But you'll add a D8 to it if it hits.
Okay. Yeah, right. I'm just making sure that it's not at advantage. Nope, it's just a regular attack. Inventory. Bull's Kiss. Attack. Blowing them dice, baby. Come on!
Your blade arcs up into the muscle, and you see a blue spark off of your sword as it cuts through a tendon or something, and a muscle spasm begins to happen. It twists the tip of its tentacle as it shoots purple goo everywhere, and there's a ripping, liquidy sound as you turn to see the passage ahead has opened. You are wreathed in its blood, the three of you.
Oof.
And the passage ahead into it is ahead, but you're ready to deliver that killing blow, the three of you. All that's left is to run into that chamber, not get bloodwormed on, and win. You also see strange, like, pieces of wood, like gray wood that seems to have an etched red blood stain in it that just in the body all over, weirdly. And it
can't see the bottom map.
There are weird...
Sorry.
Oh, you can't?
Nope.
Oh.
I don't have vision.
Huh?
I can see.
Really? You need me to? I can refresh as you continue to talk. Sorry.
Hold on, I'm moving you. Do you see now?
Yes, sir.
That other token's a dummy.
My doppelganger! I knew it! Get out of here! Evil Yannick.
It's back.
Does he have a little chin thing?
Yes. So there are bloodworms spurting out of all these wounds. They are swirling, they're twindling. They look like maybe a tadpole, but with like a boar tip. And yeah, you're gonna have to make a con save if you run through there without doing anything to keep it like, because like this thing ahead is like a slip and slide splash zone of these worms wiggling about on the floor, trying to dig up. You can tell they're hungry for flesh. They want to be inside you. They want to rip you apart.
Gross.
Ooh.
Yeah. So, does anybody have anything to do about it, or are you just running in and fucking chancing it? You could try and make an athletics or acrobatics, just dive through, or someone could try and throw something up.
Yeah, I would literally want to throw something up, but I will wait to see what the other two want to do, because I'm sure Li Wei and Fazil would see me reaching back for the Gazku Ironwood javelins that my mother gave me once upon a time.
Oh, snap. I've got an idea, but Fazil is the one with the bugs.
That's true. Come on. Aren't these your people, Fazil?
I was going to ask, are these bugs?
So, they are, like, you feel as if though your power could reach them in some way, yes.
So they are animals. They are, like, corporeal animals, like, they're parasites, like, in the animal kingdom.
They may not naturally be here, but they exist in the same way for now,
okay.
So you can act upon them.
Alright. unfortunately, I don't think I still have anything really much to get through them if they're hungry. That's the thing.
I've got
Like, I
something.
can talk to them, but I mean, I doubt we're gonna be able to
Yeah,
like.
I mean, they're
convince
basically
them.
getting like dive bombed out of open veins, like spewing everywhere with the blood.
Mm.
So
Goodness.
it's and
I don't
they're withering and dying pretty shortly after they exit the blood and like curl. So like you're literally stomping
Oh.
through like ankle deep wave of them to reach the flesh floor to advance at this point.
Yeah, all I can
Good
really
dig.
do is talk to them, and I don't think they're feeling very diplomatic at the moment.
Okay. All right. In that case, let me try something. And leeway, essentially, what I would like to do is start running forward, and then once I feel like they're like really encroaching on me, then I'll cast a thunder wave to blast
Ooh.
them and send them flying, and hopefully
Okay.
enough of a radius of them.
So here's what you got to do, Leeway.
Okay.
You know, if you want to get deep inside this, you're having to jump into the middle of like a water cannon and then activate. You're going to take the con save, but if you do successfully, no one else has to.
All right, let's go.
No, leeway! And as he runs forward, I go and take the brunt. I'm not letting him. I will take the con save. I will take. Shower me with the worms!
Jump
Thunderwave!
in! Like the worms dink off your armor, but they start to like fall in between the folds and the scraps to try to come in through your helmet, through your sallet tip. And give me a con save, Yannick, as Leeway unleash your Thunderwave. Drop that shit in chat.
Here we go. All right, that'll be
Hell yeah!
8 points of thunder damage and an AoE out from me.
And
Oh,
so
That's cool.
You serious?
alright, so here's what happens.
No.
Yannick,
no.
Yannick, your skin is made of certain stuff, sir. They bite into you, and you feel the pain, but they're not inside of you. You take only a single D12 of damage, piercing, and you don't. They don't get in. And Fazla, you blow back everything, but in the explosion, like you collapse the orifice you've come in through to an extent. And in the caving in of this artery, a bone cracks in on you and Yannick. Both of you give me a strength save.
Oh
Wait,
my
you-
gosh.
And-
Basil or
No, not Fazl, but Fazl, you see this opening, you see it falling from above, you have a moment to act. What would you do? Do you want to dive through and try and finish this on the far side? Do you hold back?
I'm going towards the prince. He's getting stuck in there. No way I'm moving on the opposite direction.
Alright, you want to give me an acrobatics or an athletics, Fazl, to try and get him through? Get him through?
Remember, Fazl, father died. I rule this realm now.
Yeah.
Yes, the king.
Gaze upon the Herzog. What are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
I'm slipping and sliding.
Yeah, give me an athletics or an acrobatics to give a slip and slide to your boys.
Get all Leroy Jenkins up in here, Fazl.
Yeah.
Fazl! 20!
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
So,
Oh my
Leeway,
gosh.
you've fallen. You can get up. You
Yeah.
take a D10 bludgeoning. Yannick, you may stay on your feet. Fazl comes up behind you both, slips and slides you down in with a quick kick around the knees, and you guys are all in the central chamber as you see a fell green glowing light caked like scabs are around it in this strange gray wood with the red veins in this like obsidian type scab up around it. It looks unhealthy. It looks sick. It looks like something is happening, and it's feeding into this entity. And yeah, guys, you're around it, and this is the moment. This is the moment to score the victory. You look at each other, and this is the core of the enemy. What do you do?
How far away is it from us? Is it like high up? Is it like within striking
It
distance?
is in the floor.
Oh, it is in the floor.
Yeah.
I'm me. I'm always running up front, so I'm probably going like this unless. And I kind of look at the others. This is, and I'm like, this is for our glory, for the Emerald Rose. Whack!
All right.
Yeah.
Give me one attack with advantage to drive it home.
Sorry, I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
I'm clicking. Advantage.
Nice.
All right. There is a great cry, and everyone starts to yell, "It's falling! It's falling!" As you guys all roll cage inside the body. The whole out collapses. Yeah, the whole thing folds in. There's blood, there's guts, there's viscera, there's blood worms, and there is like a sizzling as the flesh burns. And in this moment, you're there together. It's destroyed. The rot is still there, but a moment later, as you're gathering your bearings, something rips open the entrance, and you see Quartz stood there with a severe look on his face. He opens up his hands, and he flies out splinters of broken wood, and each of them flies precisely to one of the points that is infected, and it shatters into 1,000 pieces and burns up into ash on the spot. He mutters something you do not understand, hangs his head low, and says, "My worst fears have come to pass. I will be speaking directly with the Circle, whether they will have me or not. They will not want to meet with you yet, but they will be convinced. This matter cannot be allowed to fester. I can tell you now, without question, Yannick, you have attracted the attentions of one who have dealings with the Fae. This is beyond reproachment. Whoever is responsible for this has no place in our cycle." And he looks heavy to say those words, and bitter to gaze upon it, but he seems set. And you hear as Vio pops in and says, "Never thought I'd be inside one of these without getting eaten." And he looks around and says, "My liege, victory. We're tending to the wounded. And the hunt is a success."
So I look to Quartz and I say, Quartz, when you contact the Circle, ensure that you tell them that we did this thing for their survival as much as ours. We will be stronger together.
He nods. He says, I will impress it upon them that the path of life is that of the blossom of the emerald rose, and death, he kicks at some of the ashes, is whoever would resort to these methods. Be they Fae or their minions, witting or unwitting. And Vio says, "Well, I've lived a few hundred years, and had my run-ins, but I've never seen the Fae do something so brazen." And Quartz says, "Live long enough and you'll see more." Vio says, Perhaps a long life is not the only thing to want in this life." And he looks at the wreckage and the ruin. "How long do you think this had lived?" Quartz chuckles and says, "Oh, they don't get this tall younger than 1,002 years." And Vio says, "Is this an animal with a name? Something that can be understood?" And Quartz says, No two of these are alike. This abomination was twisted by the Fae's implants.
And so I kind of speak up and I'd say, Vio, you said, I'm sorry, two things. Vio, you said that our wounded are being tended to.
Yes, my liege.
It is good that you understand my priorities, and I'm sorry, but did you say that this was a creature that has been corrupted? So this was a living thing that was not dangerous to begin with. I mean, maybe not dangerous, but it was not an evil thing to begin with.
Yeah, Quartz says, mostly they live in the woods beyond, and they slumber for decades at a time. When they emerge, they feast, and there's a bloodbath, and then they return.
They have a great power upon Barats, the spirits of the land. They twist them wherever they go. But in the Empire, all Barats are aligned as if though raked sand by the Sornetto. This makes it less desirable for them to enter. It had to be twisted and forced in. It was a killing thing. But it was not intent on destroying your province. It was not intent on emerging. Until it was twisted from within. They made it like this. And this is surgical, make no mistake. This does not happen by accident. Something has taken each limb of this thing in its mind and its ears and its eyes, and taken it from where it should be. It cannot survive, not for centuries, without a free flow of great amounts of magic. It was already dying. To exist within the Sornetto for such a thing is a death sentence. And one sentenced them to hurt you, Yannick. Make no mistake. There is a plot here, and the Fae are involved. And Vio says, whoever the Fae plot, all elves must raise their hands. I assure you, my liege, if we find that the people who have done this are Fae collaborators, I will have many allies to call upon.
Speaking of, I wonder if this was not our friend from down below who said that she would have her revenge at some point or another.
He strokes his chin and he says, perhaps, Leshna. To command such power, I think it beyond her. She is a minor noble of the Beacon Cities, but perhaps she is even of my worst enemy. I do not want to imagine a Fae who would so align with these, an elf who would so align with a thing like this, as it is twisted. For surely I do not see the snares of the profane, only those who seek our destruction. And
Vio, you will bend your ear to find at least a link. I would know where this came from. I have a terrible feeling about this.
I shall not rest until I have seen their blood spread just as this. And it will be sweet, a sweeter succor than any I have tasted. Because this is an abomination, and any who would do it deserve the fate they have coming. And Quartz says, you have never said a truer thing in your life, Vio. Now then, I'll hop to my job. I've healed so many wounded as I can today with my magics. I will go on now to the circle. It will be many moons of bickering, but I will compel them to meet with you direct, Yannick. So swift as I am able.
You have my thanks.
And you have my charge. Don't let my saplings to go unwatered now, huh? And with a chuckle, Quartz turns and walks out, staff twisting as it stabs at the bloodworms and twists for the killer, and just, moves out through the hem of his robes, a stained purple like he's been dancing in a wine vat. And yeah, Vio kind of wipes some of this up and says, "We will investigate this thoroughly, I assure you." And with that, you all look at each other and you think, "Wow, it's time for the 5-minute break, isn't it?" Yeah, that is welcome to Reign of Roses. Roar, yay! Little mouth face. So yeah, this is our game, Reign of Roses, and we'll be back in 4 or 5 minutes. Just a little restroom break.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Be right back.
You'll still hear us, but we will be away. So goodbye for now. What am I gonna do?
Oh my goodness, it is Pat. I did water the desk. Oh my god.
Basil, I always imagine when I see. Are you there, or is it just on auto right now?
Is what on auto?
Your character. It's
What?
moving around and stuff, so I didn't know if that was you or if it was it.
Oh no, I just got back.
I always, every time I see that thing dance, I imagine that you're just behind the screen actually doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's teaching me how to dance.
You're busting it down.
Yep,
You could.
busting it wide open.
You have the VR goggles. You could do like the immersive VR dance.
So there's like a setting for this new program I started using that can like use hand tracking and whatnot through my Rift. And,
Yeah. Nice.
I just haven't set it up yet.
No, I feel you. When you have like a cool thing lined up, it's like, that's how it was. I bought Foundry like I think 6 or 9 months before I ever had a Foundry stream.
Right?
Because it's like it's cool, but you're gonna be doing some legwork. You're gonna need to be on your top Von Ortel game to be able to handle that.
And what's crazy is like honestly, the most I used my VR was when my computer was fucking broken. So,
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, because it does have its own like standalone stuff to an extent, doesn't it?
I mean, too, it was the only option for video games I had. And it sounds like, the only option you have for video games is VR, but really, it's like 4 games for that fucking thing.
Yeah.
Phasmophobia.
Yeah, you need to have
Ooh.
that run off your PC. It doesn't run standalone. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of games for VR, but like
Yeah, the problem is
not many standalone.
it is a
ones.
very
Gotcha.
limited local processor.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So
Pretty
yeah.
much, you're stuck with like fucking Android, Apple level games, like phone app games.
Yeah,
Like
if
games.
it's like a proper computer game, you normally need it jacked into a
Either.
running computer or streaming
Yeah.
from
Got
it.
it. Copy.
Yep. So, here gamers. Here we are. I think that we're back at the round table view as So yeah, I mean, you emerge fresh from the field. There are dead, and unfortunately, some of them are not going to have enough to bury. Let's put it that way. But Jella surveys the field, and she says, I look out now and I know that every man here, and every woman, and every other person who has fought, would rather have died fighting than to have this come upon them in their homes, to destroy their lands when they had no way to fight back. For alone they will divide us, but together, my Herzogs, O Liwei and Yannick, O Master of the Hunt Fazil, together we are strong. And we are the fist that strikes back. And Kurai, having found his courage, kind of like soaked in the blood, on top of some of the one of the huge horns, raises his sword and screams, "The Emerald Fists! Bathed in purple blood!" And there's some woo going on as they've had their first battle, and some people are dead. You have had mostly survivors. A lot of people either ran or became disoriented from the morale losses. Just because, like, you're on a weird obstacle course. You're not sure if a thing is going to beat you to death. It was not a great position. The archers, there weren't really casualties from, except for, technically speaking, all your boot raiders are on it. I digress. Point is, you've done good. You've struck down your foes. And Lady Jella von Vergrave, says, we have made arrangement for all of the Teichstein that will be needed for the tablets, and we have made ready the local shrines. The burials will be split between 3 of them to ameliorate the strain. And you do see some priests walking out onto the field, gazing upon the wreckage. They do keep a bit of a distance from Jella and her hedge priests, or her hedge wizards, rather. And she says, "The court druid, Quartz. I confess, my liege, I wasn't sure what to think of him. But after today, I know his mettle in the field of battle. He was indispensable. The archers could have easily been overrun if he wasn't here. That thing was trying to force its way out the entire time."
He has more than shown his worth, both here and in court. Lady Fairgrave, I would task you.
Yes, my liege.
I have concern that this is only the beginning of things like this to come into our realm.
Mhm.
I task you to keep scouts out into the woods to alert early of such things. I would want your scouts to respect the lands that they tread upon, though. And I will also, as a note, I will call upon my brother to see what aid they can render in ensuring that the dead here are properly sent into the next world. I suppose it would be, given that they will join the network.
Indeed. And yeah, so she nods and says, "Indeed, our spirits committed to the Sornetto, and our souls sent to the far sky, wherever the angels carry them." And she looks off into the distance, longing for a moment, and she says, "Well, there is much work left to do. So, my liege, I will do as you have charged me, and you shall be the first to hear of any disturbance. I confess, I have long felt there was something in the woods that was pressing in against us, ever since my father died. Not just these people who appear alone, these foes that act alone. As Quartz has declared, there is evidence of a greater conspiracy."
As we receive word, I will ensure that you are one of the first to hear. I will also be holding a council here soon, and it would do me good to see you there if you would be so kind.
And she says, "Of course, my liege."
And so I would nod to her, and I would look at Li Wei and Faisal and I'd ask you, do either of you need help with your wounds? Are you okay?
Actually, I didn't get hurt at all.
Faisal the Untouched.
Lucky you, Faisal.
Leeway is gonna. He might be a little breathless, but he'll say, "I'll be okay." And then you can kind of see like the glow in his hands as he casts Cure Wounds a couple times to mend himself out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you managed to heal yourself up with a little flute toot, and everyone's feeling pretty good. You emerge, and from this battle, shaken, not stirred. And we find ourselves back on the Emerald Vale political map. So, you guys are back home.
Can I ask one thing before we leave?
Yes.
I think so. It was my flathead Ashigura were the ones that brought it up. I think it was Faisal.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any meat left?
There is. Oh, you mean of the enemy?
Yes.
A lot of meat, and also here's two things that you are going to have to make a decision about. Those horns I described are weird silver ivory, and they are prodigious. You've never seen a building that could house either of them in their whole form. There'll be a lot of work to cut up and move, but they could be sold for a large amount, and who knows what else they could do if anybody wants to roll an Arcana.
I will definitely. Not that I'm very knowledgeable, but you never know. I might pull a leeway and just all of a sudden
Let's
pop out.
go.
Nope. Man, we are just
Hey,
rocks.
you know what? How
I'd
much
write
was
a-
that? How much was that bardic inspiration?
Oh,
How much was
D8.
that?
A D8.
D8.
A
There you
D8.
I think I'll use that now.
Yeah.
Let's go.
So the reason I ask is whenever we come back to the table, I'd probably look at collecting this material. I'd probably reach out to Lady Gresney, given her knowledge of magical things, and I would also ask Lady Vergrave because she has her hedge wizards. I feel like the meat and stuff might be actually useful for the arcane brewers that we have in the city.
Yeah, so you bring back a
Mm.
load of meat and blood and other samples. It is, however, you're looking at this shit.
It's gross.
You have to move it this season.
Okay.
It is going to be a lot of logistics.
Okay.
You need to spend 1 point of infrastructure, and you're already down the capital infrastructure, and everyone's tapped.
Yep. When do these reset, by the way?
Between the years. So
Okay.
after this season, you just have winter. But important to note, they stand up one state. So if you double tap one of them, it's going to spend next year sideways.
Got it.
And
Cool.
when you double tap, it puts one strife on.
Got it. Solid copy. Okay. That's something we can discuss. I have a few ideas. But back at the table now. Sorry.
For sure, for sure. So you guys, it's like you're back in the council chamber, right? And yeah, Daiichi is here. Everybody's here. There's a gaveling in, and did you want to summon Beargrave?
Yeah. No,
Not
I
this
want
one.
to. I want to bring her in to the war to the south.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. So you do indeed,
She has earned my trust now enough that I believe that I would bring her in.
So she's involved, and she says that when we are done making appointments for the dead and posting those watches, I will call upon my most trustworthy and veteran rangers, who will bleed green through the woods unseen. And yeah, so you know that she's gonna come, and she's gonna bring some rangers.
Okay.
So you're here, and that is more or less like. So the question is really just, are you gonna make a tap, or are you going? So here's what can be done. I mean, here's the thing. It is a monumental job. This thing is the size of multiple buildings. You gotta spend something, and it's probably infrastructure. You could theoretically pay crews to come in if you want to spend one of the wealth that you have left. And as a reminder, the treasury sits at 2 wealth.
So, I would bring up to Leeway and Fazel. Fazel, you're always more than welcome at court. I look for your input, especially because this seems to be a little bit of the natural side of things, and I think that your opinion here is vital. I feel that there is something dark looming on the horizon. We have enemies to the south. We have enemies to the north. We now have something coming from the west. All we need is scourge to come in from the east, and we will be beset on all directions. As Lee sucks his teeth and gets ideas, or already had it in the pipes.
I wonder if you've heard they're raiding the north again.
Well, I heard that we were going to have to make a decision similar to my father, which we will not make the same one. I feel like any advantage that we can have. I am not a mystical person. I do not understand this stuff. I am a dull wit whenever it comes to it, and it doesn't hurt me to say so. I feel like the remnants of this creature, particularly those horns and the material that's going to come off of this, could make the difference between having to send hundreds of our people to slaughter or being able to use something.
Vio also says, "My liege, I might provide indication that it is worth doing." He pulls out a tube, right? He has a glass tube, and it's got, like, preserved in what looks like alcohol. It has several of those bloodworms. I have been in contact with some of our friends in Abzaryin. Oh, I believe that this is a very valuable sample to people in the Devuvion. It can be used to harvest and transmute blood that is otherwise toxic into useful alchemical reagents due to its natural ability to strain toxins. As such, it is incredibly useful, and the buildup within can be useful for antivenom or poison accumulation. Either way, they're very valuable. If we extract them and sell only a sample from our gathering, we'll be able to potentially recoup our expenses. It will take a time for it all to go through, but I believe it will be well worth the investment.
So I would ask Quartz. And do you think that this could be something useful against the Fae if it comes to that?
We'll need to study their nature. Indeed. But I've had my first round of talks. I don't think we're going to need a stockpile of the meat and the worms, but based on what I know, every ounce of those horns could be used against the enemy. And so with each that you sell away, and it is quite valuable, you'll need to think. It will be one less one less rock in your sling pouch. As for the meat and the worms, samples should be taken, and we should conduct a good study of it here and hand on some of it to our local brewers and see what they can do with it.
We've done that. We brought it for the return trip. Now, Li Wei, Basil, what are your thoughts? Are right now all of our providences are taxed due to having to take care of the strife that had arisen during the revolt and the subsequent crushing of it. We have several agents that we could send out that may be able to help with this and alleviate some of that. We have very little in the treasury because we spent on a very important and very necessary network.
Right.
So I would hear your thoughts.
Well, my liege, it may sound a bit trivial, but I believe a portion of the material should be set aside and turned into silverware and distributed to the citizens so that they have a sense of ownership and belonging, even if it's something small and just
What's what I'm looking for?
small and symbolic of their liege lord doing things in their interest. I mean, it's a pretty horrible monster we just killed, and the idea of their lord going around killing monsters may in time fade away. But silverware, it may tarnish, but it doesn't really fade away. Not really. And then, who knows? If there ever is an issue with the Fae, every single citizen has a little bit of ammunition, a little bit of something to stick on a bow, stick inside a bomb, so on and so forth.
Yeah, the silverware could be something that would remind the populace that, well, it's something that they can eat with rather than what might have eaten them.
Precisely. It's maybe it's not practical, in terms of how much, in a return on investment, but as far as symbolic and morale raising, it very well could be.
Daiichi,
Brother.
I would see you and a few of my other agents go out into these lands. I would see you take some of the wealth that we have from our treasury, and I would ask that you help with the burials there and ensure that every rite is taken in accordance and that nothing negative would arise, because as you know, you were here whenever you had to stand and act as the bait whenever we sent so many off.
He nods.
I don't know. Go ahead.
He nods and he says, yes, not only that, I'm worried the Soronetto could be... Well, it is a disturbing incident. I've been in correspondence with the Koyaldans. Absolutely. Dispatch me with a goodly chests of gold, and I will ensure that everything is handled. The goods will be returned and thoroughly inspected to ensure that everything is in accords and can safely move here.
Now, Leeway, I am going to tax you, unfortunately, as the keeper of this realm, as its
All
steward.
right.
I would use what little treasury we have left. Number one, to pay individuals in Coyelda. Damn, I cannot say this.
You got it. You got Coyalda. Coyalda. Yeah, you got it. You got it. You got it. I'll move Jello. You can see it. Coyalda. Yeah.
Oh man, I got so many things written down in my notes. I lose shit
It's
all the
Pina
time.
Coyalda. Remember?
All right, yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. So if you like Pina Coeldas, I need you to get some of that treasury money, and you're going to do two things. Daiichi is going to take care of the religious side. I want to send one of my other. Good. This is what I needed. I needed to see all my peoples.
Yep.
Yes.
I.
Mhm.
Ooh, I
You
have an idea.
Yeah, you have Wilhelm. No Glissa.
I have an idea, but we'll see. So the Lady Glissa von Steinbridge has actually interested me quite a bit. I would send her with Daiichi and the last bit of the treasury to do two things. Number one, to provide work to those who might have lost due to the this creature coming through. Those would be the first to employ to gather up the materials. I want those horns, and I want as much of the meat as we can. And so, Leeway, I task you to find a way to balance the treasury loss that we have with the brewers. I will not see the horns sold. The other thing is with that last bit of treasury, I would do as Fazil has said, and we will commemorate this. For the people that are there, number one, some of that treasury will go to help them rebuild the things that they have lost. And then I would see some type of a memento made, whether it's silverware or something of a nature that could hurt. What can hurt the Fae? I have no dealings with them.
Vio pipes up and Vio says, I'm barely familiar. If you have black iron, that can help. Individual types have different natures. This resource, it's unusual. I have never seen anything quite like it, but Quartz tells me that it can be used to ward off or even destroy Fae. And Quartz nods sagely and says, it is the accumulation of the cost of its presence in this world. If you were to take it and drive it into the enemy, it would burn up and burn the Fae with it. And that, Yannick, is how you kill 2 birds and 1 stone. If you were to give them forks and plates and knives, they would be able to bash the Fae with them, stab the Fae with them, cut the Fae with them. Of course, if you were to make arrow tips, you'd have a few more shots. More importantly, if you have a decent chunk of it, you can perform rituals which will ward or damage the Fae.
And this is the horns you are speaking of, or black iron?
So that is all horns.
All right.
He explains black iron to you as thusly. He says,
right.
Black iron. You must find iron, exposed naturally, not quarried or mined. You must set a blaze around it, and perform the proper rites during the correct phase of the moon. And then, you chisel away what iron is on the surface. It is charred and black. That iron, when it touches Fae, destroys them and reveals their nature.
So this is my command. Glissa von Steinbridge will go with Daiichi. I think it is important for her to get out and see the realm a little bit, to learn how others live, and maybe make a better leader out of her. She's already shown resourcefulness and going from a crying young lady into a warrior on the battlefield. Perhaps we can help her grow by sending her out. I would see one of the horde make it back to the capital, and I would see the other horn with that money that I've given you converted into silverware. Reason being is I think Fazil is onto something. While I think arrowheads and swords or spikes or something might be more beneficial as a weapon, if the Fae never attack, this is something that can be passed down from generation to generation. A reminder that this once belonged to a creature that would be destroying these lands if it weren't for the heroes that sit in this room that went forth with their men and women and destroyed it. And perhaps that will help incite just a little bit more morale and unity as they have these tools to pass on in the future.
Yeah.
And they act as weapons.
Yeah. And as you say, it is so. June turns to July, July turns to August, and before you know it, it is September. You enjoy the comings and the goings, and a man bumps into Li Wei one day and whispers, "The boats turn south, but the winds do not blow harshly." And Li Wei, you hear from this and others. There's trouble in the Scordian lands. Your network doesn't expand far there, but you're still getting intel. There's trouble in the north, a war of some kind. Their powerful king is having some sort of issue. Yeah, and it's on the 21st night of September, in fact. So you guys, Earth, Wind, and Fire on your side. You guys, here's what happens, right? Glissa and Daiichi together, the strife is gone, in addition to all of this being fixed. Koyolda is reinvigorated. They've been through a lot, but they're solidly on your side. The report comes back from Lady Anshin Vrozgresny. She's given her court wizard some of the samples, and they say that they think he says this doesn't smell like an original Fey plot. This sounds like someone using Fey implants to further their plot and not caring if they're using the Fey and not caring what beasts from beyond they're using. And she says that the report, the basis of his report is that it seems like no additional Fey magics were placed upon, and it seems like the implementation was very methodical, but not very organic. And in some ways, it didn't feel, quote unquote, feel like a Fey plot to him. And he actually proposed that it might be some other force possibly coveting Koyalda. And Lady Anshin Vrozgresny's response came with a coded warning that she and her court wizard fear that someone could be biding their time and weakening Koyalda until the moment comes to try and take it. Perhaps because they're anticipating the realm to fall into war or to face other losses. And it is... So we've had fall. That was fall. Who am I kidding? It's winter. Things are cold. You can't easily get fertility. And time passes.
Kidding me? The winter is cold is the best time to make fertility.
Oh
my God.
So, nothing else to do.
Yeah, technically speaking, I was gonna have the hunt happen during winter, whatever. It was a fall hunt. You stay in the season between the years. There is some occasion to go on adventure or go on pilgrimage, but this year everything is so chaotic that your court all comes to you, and basically everyone says, "My liege, we think it would be best if you were seen in Three Hill this year." And everyone feels like, you burning the Hearth's banner is what... The Hearth's fire is what people need right now, is stability and the presence of Li Wei and Yannick ruling. And they propose a feast. Here's the thing. Throwing the feast is going to cost 1 fertility. What do you want to do, Yannick?
Just tapping me dry, huh? You just want to empty out everything. It's like, yep, you already emptied your money. Now we're gonna take that last little fertility. Well, who am I, as a young man who probably would enjoy some feasting and making my people happy? Who am I to turn away such ideas? I mean, we might starve next year, but let next year come as it may.
All right.
My steward will make sure that doesn't happen.
All right.
We
Chicken said we partied hard.
Yeah, so between the years, a gold moon rises. 396 to 397 was a gold moon. A gold moon.
Gold moon arising.
Everything's very brilliant and splendiferous, and illusions seem to linger. And there's an amber glow around your grandfather Delricker's study tower, and your mother takes you to at one point in the occasion, it takes you to
one of the towers in the southwest, Yannick, and shows you a statue of a great angel. And she says, "This is the angel Zarziel. We did not tell you, but now that you are of age, and it is clearly you to whom the inheritance shall fall, there's a prophecy that 6 and 8 generations shall pass from the time Zarziel revealed himself and commingled his blood with us, until a great scion of angelic blood will emerge in our bloodline. People puzzled over what 6 and 8 could mean. 6 generations? 8 generations? They came and passed, and there were appearances. Some say the prophecy is fulfilled. Others that it means 6 and 8. And that generation is upon us, Yannick. It will be your children." And you have a moment there, but time flies. Time flies. The time between the years expires, and it is SR 397. And early in March, you get the news that the southern province, the province south of you, has fallen. And it descended into chaos. And shortly after descending into chaos, the Golden Rose moved in their forces and very kindly made one of the lords there the viceroy and took control and added it to their growing realm. So you now have a direct border. Direct south of the Snake Coast is a direct border with the Gold Rose. And it is now it is spring, March 397, and the second. And you guys have your forces, and here's the situation. Everything is stood up, right? And you have a collection of lords in the north and the south, but I believe just Zidane Torslav is going to be with you at the battle, and the others are the hammer and anvil, yeah?
Correct.
Okay. Here's the thing. You still aren't full strength on Heartwood Piercers or Flathead Ashigaru.
No, we need to take care of that.
So the cost for doing that, it's important to note, the Heartwood Piercers are a band of honor, meaning you actually don't need to spend money on them. But you do need to spend tradition. So I am going to bring forth the rules for Realms of War, or Seasons of War, to V2. And yeah, so Seasons of War, hello, welcome, the steward. Everyone is sending you letters saying, and we're a bit short on money, as everyone's kind of noticing and prodding the fact that there's no money left. The Chamberlain, the man who's supposed to be in charge of the money, is kind of, like wrapping his fingers, and he comes to you and he says he thinks that the mines on the border of Hotratch have been exporting some of their yield into Hotratch, the province you don't own, instead of to you. Instead of internal to your province without paying the duties. He thinks that if you deploy him there, he is going to be able to get some wealth out of that. It'll rock the boat, but he's proposing it because he thinks right now is probably a time when you need to do it.
Okay. I would definitely bring that up to Yannick first and say, my lord, it seems that, well, Hotretch is a place where we need to focus some attention on, just a little bit. I'd like to send this man over to make sure that duties are paid for some secret exports.
See it done. I
Yeah.
trust your judgment.
All right, so Vorian goes, he kicks, and the backs come. Dink! You have 1 wealth. Okay. Per unit, you wanna pump to full. You spend 1 wealth, 1 fertility for standard, 1 tradition, 1 fertility for a band of honor. The Heartwood Piercers are a band of honor. All of your shit in the capital is now back available. What do you guys do before heading down to battle? This is basically a question of, how much are you going to invest in getting ready for the fight coming in?
So, go ahead, Faisal.
Did you hear me?
Now?
How?
I heard a
Because
yawn.
I'm inside of your house. I'm behind you. He's looking back like, what?
We're not hearing you now if you're testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you shouldn't be able to hear me right now.
Oh,
No,
whoa.
we're hearing you right now.
Concerning.
Is Zoom maybe
Anyway.
using like a headset that you have or something that you don't intend to link it to?
Maybe? I don't know. I'll be paranoid about that later.
You can mute in the bottom left there's a mute button in Zoom.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys want to pump what do you want to pump
So
into
I would say so my loyal companions, we need to ensure that our troops are back up to full strength. My thought is that if we tap our home providence here,
Mm-hmm.
that gives us all of those, right? We can't just tap.
Sorry,
Okay, so
you
I need to know how that works.
you choose one of the
Okay.
resources that you'll be drawing upon for the season.
Okay, so the Heartwood Piercers need one tradition and no money.
One tradition, one fertility. Both of them are going to need fertility and Heartwood tradition. Flathead money.
Okay, so for example, if I wanted to tap the capital, or not the capital, but the capital province, right?
Yep.
I could say, okay, so I would say we would want either the tradition, which would be, or the top. Is it? No.
So infrastructure.
Tradition. No, sorry. Hold on. I know this. I had this. I read this. Infrastructure, tradition, fertility, money.
Correct.
Okay, so, while our home providence here is fairly fertile,
Mm-hmm.
we are definitely the top whenever it comes to, or at least one of the top whenever it comes to tradition. My suggestion would be that we tap here for the tradition, we tap over here for the fertility. That would put 3 and 6 into our holds.
Here's the thing that kind of fucks with you.
Okay.
You can only store fertility and wealth.
Okay, so
All
right, I need a second to think about
It's all
this.
good.
Then.
And remember, you can tap one of your sources for your capital. So like if you just need one tradition, for example, you can tap that from the capital. If you want to handle your 2 fertility, you have 2 tradition in the capital. If you want to handle 2 fertility, you can get that from the capital. But you can only draw 1 from the capital per season.
Okay, so now question.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let's say I do this. Let's say, so which are the 2, tradition and what's the other one you can't store?
You can't store tradition or infrastructure.
Okay, cool. So if I tapped down here, get out of the way. The names I always Coelda. There we go. I'm like, I know I can say it. It's on the tip of my tongue. I just can't get it up.
Mm-hmm.
I could tap Coelda for the fertility.
Correct. And you would have 6.
And that would stay inside of our hold regardless if I used it or not.
Correct.
Okay, now we're gonna be a hard tap, and I do not want to tap Borm. I would tell my followers I do not want to tap Borm for once we have routed out these fools. I tell you now, one of 2 things is going to happen. Either I am going to die on the battlefield, or we are going to make them regret ever coming north. Okay? So, I want to ensure that Borm is not tapped, because if we have a break, I wish to go north to Borm to help build the forts that I mentioned there. We cannot fight a war on 2 fronts, and there's a very good chance that if we can capture one of their higher ranking members, and I would really prefer to find that father, and hopefully he is a man of quality and will lead his troops into battle. If we can get him and take him before the courts, there's a good chance that we might be moving south. If that's the case, we've already seen that enemies will try and attack us. There was people who were funded from the north that pushed in. So I want to make sure that we have those resources available. I'm not a big fan of tapping Twin River either, because I would like to recruit from Twin River.
Right.
They have the ability to fund troops, and we may need them, but I don't want to have a gigantic standing army that we can't afford. So my suggestion would be that we tap Coyelda, we get the fertility that we need from it. We use men and women from the capital to take care of the Heartwood Piercers using their tradition. The Flatheads, the Flathead Ashigari, then they needed money and
One
fertility.
money, one per. Yep.
We have a little bit in the funds because of the work that you did, Leeway. I say that we spend that money along with some of the fertility that will generate from Coyelda and take care of the troops, and then we move south. That would leave Snake Coast, Twin River, and Borm, and our capital untapped for this season, and there in case we have an emergency.
All counselors look around like this is a defined plan. All eyes turn to Leeway and Fazil for the final approval.
Also will give a thumbs up affirmative.
All right.
Yeah.
And you've tapped for tradition, yes, in the capital.
Correct. So that would
Yep.
tap tradition.
And
We would lose 2 fertility, the 1 gold, and that should take our Heartwood Piercers and our Flatheads back up to full strength.
correct. So you now have you're totally full health on all of your units. It is now time. I'm sorry this is taking so long.
It's okay.
You guys, I mean, the word comes like, hey, they're coming. Not only that, so Ottred is in the capital because they're claiming ignorance. He's in the capital of that province. He's claiming that there's chaos, but we're taking care of it. If there's any border scuffle, it wasn't me. It was but he's sending his son. And here's the thing you've learned. Vio says, I'm afraid there's been a bit of a situation. The Lady Gold is dead.
His mother.
Yes. Conrad has been deeply affected by this. It should seem he is pressed by his father to make a move. The first raids have already begun at the very outer edge. However, they say that a knight, a ritter in golden armor, rides through the town before the torches arrive. It warns everyone to take everything they have and run.
Do you think it's him?
It fits the profile. Everyone says that he is a gallant leader, that he is a noble and a knight before all else, and that he loathes being forced to engage in this. However, his heart is set as stone, and he will not turn away. His father has compelled him by some means related to the death of his mother. I doubt anything now can stay his sword.
So, Fazil, you weren't here last time. There's an area that we have intel that they're going to attack, and we
I'll
set
show
the
you.
wheels in motion to kind of be able to funnel an attack in. Oh, cool, you're loading it.
Oh yeah. So we can get a good lowdown on it because I'm also going to pop in your troops, and you were going to put them wherever the fuck you want.
Fazil, you can see the map, correct?
That's correct.
So I unroll a map of the Snake Coast here, and I kind of show them the city. I'm like, we expect them to be coming from the south. We expect that their main forces will be coming across this bridge, and that they will then send a splinter force across the bridge here. I've informed the individuals that live in this town to begin to build up debris and detritus here as if it was a natural flood to ensure that people cannot make it through there, or if they do, that it's going to be a trial. I will be up here with the cavalry. We plan to have troops inside of the houses here on the outskirts. Once, and I'll start putting troops, but I want to have this talk before we do anything else.
Of course.
I will start putting troops in. Leeway, I fully expect and plan for you to be in charge of the men and women inside of those homes. Our troops. Now, unfortunately, I've talked to their leaders here, and many of them are veterans. I'm hoping that they will be able to look like a disarrayed force and draw in the enemy troops, at which point in time, our troops that are hidden in the forest here, and here, possibly here, depending on what we have going on, will end up raining fire upon them, and we can trap them inside of the city and then completely rout them. What Vio says concerns me, though. I am not a man who would strike down somebody from hiding. There are many who say that the best time to attack a person is when they're asleep, when they're not looking, and you put a knife in their back before they have a chance to do it. But that is not the realm that I lead. We abide by honor, we cleave to tradition, and we will hold on to these virtues. But I can't help but feel that if we corner this man, perhaps I can speak sense to him. And perhaps we can turn this from a slaughter of both our people and his into something. And at the very end, if he refuses, and I kind of take a deep breath and I kind of look down for just a moment, I swallow, I will challenge him to one-on-one combat.
Vio leans in here, and this is the huddle. This is the boys' huddle, right?
Yes. Oh,
This
yeah.
is-
No, everyone's here.
Okay, this is the boys'
Everyone's
huddle. So, he doesn't want to do it necessarily in front of everyone, but he will lean in and say, "Oh, my sire, remember, if we have him alive, he'll be the best possible evidence. I beg you to show him at least some mercy if you defeat him in the field. We need him alive for the court case."
Vio, my standing order to all troops, if this goes to combat, and to myself if I fight him one-on-one, is that he will live to see the sunrise. I've told, and this is not just for the courts. I cannot. I trust you to play those games. I cannot. My reason is I want my enemies to see that we do not have to be enemies. We can unite and be stronger together.
Absolutely, and the Boyar with his Yama Jaeger is there, and he's nodding along. And everybody else is taking it in stride, and we're ready. At this point in time, Bobrin has been promoted to the rank of captain. And
Yay, Bob!
Bob is now he can run units on his own. And you have 2 peasant levies, and you have 1 unit of Yama Jaeger and 1 additional peasant levy. The peasant levy he's bringing are just peasants. These peasants that have the upper arrow on them, these are the veterans. These are the they, unlike a regular peasant levy, they're not going to run the moment they get hit and no one's behind them. They're going to stand and fight. They've done this before. They'll do this again. They're volunteers. They're ready to do it. They're not. You've equipped them, but they're not well armored, and they're not super. They're not constantly drilled like a Ritter is, but they're good in a fight. They're not going to run. They're going to hold the line. So you can deploy them where you will. For the moment, their plan is emerge, play dumb, yada yada. And so that's the plan as everyone sees it. And oh, by the way, you guys can long rest and get full health and everything because it's been months. It's been months since you had to fight that.
thank
yeah,
goodness.
long rest. That's what I really needed.
Yeah.
Lee, whenever you get a sec, can you unlock the troops? And
Oh,
so
yes.
I'm gonna start moving troops into positions. I'll ask for a final approval from Leeway and Fazil, but I want to know, the both of you, your thoughts on, do we let this man come into here and make his claim and then let him leave? If we do so, we will have the upper hand where we can, hopefully he will not see us, and then we can hit him unexpected. That is on the battlefield. That, to me, an ambush is a completely 100% useful battle tactic, and one that I don't mind doing. I won't slay somebody in their sleep. I won't slay somebody, doing their duty, in terms of just being an announcement. But if we reveal ourselves and try to talk to this man, he will very much know that there is most likely troops behind us.
Yes.
But he won't arrive with his own troops at first, you don't think?
No, so all of the reports have said that a golden knight comes, or a golden ritter comes in, declares for everyone to leave, and then comes back.
Yeah.
This is probably his son. So we have an option.
Right.
I am ready to show the mailed fist of the emeralds to the golden roses. I am ready to do so. So I am ready to let this man ride in and leave without knowing that we're there, and then mow them down like grass whenever they come in. But there's also a chance, and I live by a creed that if there's a chance, we at least need to discuss it. That perhaps we can talk this situation out.
Right.
I'm a big fan of something called relentless defense. So we don't have to have troops lying in wait. And we can see if they're willing to negotiate.
Basil, the only
But
thing
if
I
he
would
does-
say. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
bud.
No, sorry, go for it.
But if he
I'm
does
listening.
leave and decide to come back with troops, I think we can set up more than enough traps than they can be ready for. I don't think there's anything really unethical about traps at all.
The thing is, this guy shows up, says, grab your shit and run, comes back. Like,
And then comes
the
back
turnaround
that
time
next
is
day.
not enough. It's not next day. You have, VO says it's an hour to hours. So, you're not going to have time to dig new fortifications. You're going to have to build them ahead of time, and any traps you deploy, you're going to have to deploy them ahead of time, probably, unless you have them pre-made, and you don't have a siege engineer or a trap master. Faz, you definitely know how to make, like, all sorts of traps, like pits, fight falls and shit. You could direct people in doing it, but you need to start now, before he's even shown up.
Oh no, I mean,
Okay, so this little muddy island here.
Yeah, so this is the there's like detritus built up on this crossing because of the strategies, like a run down beaver dam kind of looking ass shit due to what Yannick has ordered the villagers to do and they have done.
So I've got no problem holding that area down, especially if we put some ant farms and maybe some bug pheromones in there. Put it planted in the mud. The idea with the archers positioned here and here,
Mhm.
that is perfect as well. Especially if we can create like a choke point that would keep both trap. Here it's kind of what I mean by trap. And then leeway with the rooftops here if they do ever make it that far, but it should never get to that point if we do all, if we all kind of hold it up properly. But I don't, even with just the troops in wait in these positions, Faso doesn't see why we can't try to negotiate first. And then, if we've got hours,
Right.
bug pheromones work pretty quickly and spread over a pretty wide surface area, short amount of time. Wind hits right.
I wonder if I might be able to assist in disguising the
Games
the
Posley,
troops.
that's why.
Oh, wait. Oh, it is? I don't see the little game pause symbol.
Might be me. Let me
What about
refresh.
now? I just toggled it.
Okay, I'm coming back in. You were saying, Leeway?
I wonder if I might be able to assist with the disguise. If he's riding in on his own, maybe I could invisibly tail him, and in the positions where he might potentially catch a glance, I can create an illusion.
Leeway, this is perfect. It's come to me.
All right.
All right. We are going to position our troops. Okay? We are going to position our troops. You will go in disguise as the leader of the town. And
Okay.
you will speak as if you are speaking for me. You tell him to remember the vows that we made and spoke to one another when he saved my life and Fazl's and yours, if you recall, by showing up and speaking to us. Remind him of these things. Do not speak as yourself. Do not speak as me. Say that you speak on our behalf.
Mm-hmm.
Use your guile to ensure that he does not see our troops. If you can talk him down, all the better. We would not see combat, but we are not giving an inch of our land
Right.
And it's time for one of two things to happen. It is either time for them to feel the mailed fist or to back off and let it be in perpetuant. Okay?
All right.
I think that that's the perfect way to do this. That way we do not reveal our hand, but we also have all of our troops ready to go. And we also try to exhaust all possible avenues of approach.
Greg,
Speaking.
Greg, ping where you will deploy the trap in the event of negotiation breakdown.
Can't bring
Well-
troops past the wall, by the way, Lee. There's a
Oh, my bad. I will plop everyone over, and then you guys will be free to maneuver them because there are no light layers over there.
Well, they aren't really traps as much as I have an idea to rehome ant farms to like this muddy patch.
Okay, so you've already done it, or you will do it already.
Yeah.
Okay, it's
Yeah,
done.
I mean, yeah.
All right, so Basil has gone and done this, and it's there's like ant farms and shit all over, and if you're trying to cross, you're having a worse time.
They're red ants, by the way. Like almost. I mean, whatever the equivalent of Floridian red ants are.
Yeah, and Zidane Borslava, Boyar Zidane Borslava will go wherever you want him.
I can't move the piercers.
You can't move the piercers. Fixing. Should have just gone through that you can do it.
Okay. Got it.
Yep. All right, and I'll move these guys closer to town. Unless, oh shit, was that where you wanted them?
No, I don't want them way down there.
All right, yeah.
Let's see here. How fast can the Veil Blades move? 3, and the Ashigari can move 2. Okay, so where did I had another unit of Veil Blades? All right, so unit of Veil Blades.
Mm-hmm. And I will presume that we want them all rotated here, and I'll move the peasant levy off this point.
This does. Do mosquitoes exist?
Do Speedos exist?
No, mosquitoes.
Oh, I thought you said do Speedos exist. I'm like, Basil, are you going to take a dip out there, buddy? Like, what's going on?
Amazing. Yeah, and remember, the range on your Heartwood Piercers is 4.
Okay.
Great.
But, you know what? I will give you +1 for every unit of elevation you have over the target.
Okay.
So if you put them on the 10-foot high, I'll give them 5.
Okay. Okay.
Nice.
I know for a fact Speedos exist.
So,
Wink.
so this elevated land here,
Mhm.
is that like flat on top? Could troops lay down on top of that and remain hidden?
Yeah, it's like a hill. If you were to have people lie down, I mean the grass is pretty tall. It's a risk, but it's possible.
All right. So, I will now speak my plans. Okay, so that Leeway and Fazl can decide where they want to go. What's the Yami Jäger again? Sorry, I need to. They're
So,
hunters, right? So
They're skirmishers. They
skirmishers?
they can throw javelins. They can fight in melee. They are assault.
Okay. All right. So I want.
They are a range
can't- I
2.
can't-
Right? Yeah.
I
You
can't
can't
move.
move them. Just ping where you
Okay.
want them because technically speaking, he's going to control them.
Right. So is this a fort?
No, that's literally their shrine.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. I'll figure out where exactly I want them
Mhm.
here in just a moment. Actually, I think I'm going to put them here.
All right, in the
And
wood, and they'll be able to shoot across to someone like right here. Yep.
Okay. So they're going to have very strict orders
Mhm.
not to
Not engage.
fire until the signal's been given.
All right.
Um.
And
So
we'll pitch these levies back in the woods.
So this flathead Ashiguri are going to be dressed in the same clothing as the peasant levies. And I'm going to put
Mm-hmm.
Icon with them.
All
because
right.
I trust Icon to no end.
Yeah. We shall make ready to line. Now then, men, lie in the grass. Lie.
So the Heartwood Piercers, I have one set of Heartwood Piercers here. I have one set of Heartwood Piercers here.
Mm-hmm.
I am here with one set of the Emerald Fists.
Mm-hmm.
The other set of Emerald Fists are hidden in the woods here. They're here in order to charge up through the streets and attack, or if the enemy happens to divert, make it over here, they're basically our flanking force. They're there to move around and do whatever they need to. The Flatheads here, here, and the Veil Blades are all hidden inside of the houses.
Yep.
They are
would
going
be-
to let troops through up until the time that I make the call.
Mm-hmm.
So they are just to remain quiet. If the building ends up catching on fire, they're to stay there as long as they possibly can, whatever.
Yep. And the peasant levies right now are in these houses unless you want them further out.
So I want the peasant levies to be, when the troops begin to come across, to run out. They're going to run out here, basically see the forces arrayed from them, and run backwards towards the shrine. At which point in time, they will set up that as their final place that they are going to make their last stand.
All right.
Now, Leeway, Fazel.
Yes.
We need Leeway. I would put you in charge of one of the units hidden inside the home after you've spoken to this knight or this Ritter.
All right.
Basil, it is up to you where you want to be.
I am going to collect some hornet's nests and wasp nests and stuff, and I'm gonna try to bury myself quite deep into the mud in this area. I'm also gonna burrow the nests of wasps and hornets with me, so because I'm gonna be looking for yellow jacket nests and stuff like that. Not the ones that are hanging in trees, the ones that are in the ground. Because those are the ones that are the real assholes.
Yep, you got the ground. You got the ground ones. So you're lying in wait.
And Fazel, whenever you go to take your mud bath, Yannick would say, if at any point in time you see troops coming that way, launch everything that you have to make it look like we have forces down there. Perhaps we can draw troops away or startle them into thinking that they're fighting on a whole second front. And with your bugs, I'm sure that they will be.
Oh, I
can think of something.
All right, so we're ready to. So this is the place of battle made ready.
Oh God.
For the moment, Vio is going to post up in the shrine, and if anything seems to change surrounding the peasants, he's going to try and direct them and make sure that everything goes to plan with the ambush. So he's in town watching, and if anything happens, he'll signal you.
Okay, Iki's with me, correct?
Yeah, he's on you.
And Karai's in charge of the other Emerald Fist.
All right, he says, we won't let you down. We fought a monster. How hard can some goals be? And
remember, Karai, remember to keep your head. Your men are looking to you.
He says, yes, my liege. And he seems to be taking it seriously. Bobrin is back here with, I would say, the first rank of Flatheads. Yep. And the good Boyar and his Yama Jaegers are in their positions. So at your side is well, actually, Li Wei, you're playing town friar, town leader.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So,
would I know like the name of the official leader of this town?
You know that Headman Boren is an old man. Walks the stick, and he left. He didn't volunteer because he's really old and he knows he's a liability. He just he can't swing a sword anymore. Can't thrust a spear. So that's the MO. Do you have? Or is it disguise kit time?
Oh, I do not have a disguise kit.
One of the peasants says, "Oh, here's one of his coats." He just throws a coat at you, and someone's like, "Here's a stick," and they hand you like a bent stick. So you don't have a great disguise, but you have like a coat that'll cover you and like a stick. Great. And you think, if I keep this really tight, he won't see that I'm wearing cool stuff underneath, right? And maybe you can pass it off. He doesn't know this guy's name and face, most likely.
I mean, have we met this guy before?
He's probably never met him. No. But also,
no, have we?
Yeah, you've seen his face, yes.
Yeah, just do an impression. Right. Just do his voice.
All right. So the moment comes. There is a thunderous hoof sound. as a Death Reader runs towards town. A plume of dust emerges.
All right. I imagine that like I'm giving my all into this performance. I've got my stick and I'm walking in the middle of the street, pretending like I don't know he's coming.
Someone rears back on a horse, a Ritter in gold, and cries out, "People, grab everything and run! Run north! Run now if you would live! Take only what you can carry!" And he runs through town. He bangs shit, he knocks over fences, he's making as noise as he can. He rides right up to you, your soldiers stay lying in wait, and you see he raises his visor, looks down at you, because you're in the middle of the street, right?
Yes.
And you see Conrad Gold, now much matured by the years, and he looks down at you, and he says, "Old man, head north.
Yes. North?
This
Why?
This town will be destroyed in short order. You must flee. This town can be rebuilt. Your people cannot. Go."
Why would you come here to tell me this, young man?
So that you can flee with your lives. I don't want anyone to die.
You seem like a man of honor. Why would you attack us at all?
I am afraid that just as honor guards virtue, so too does it compel deeds.
Compel deeds? You don't seem very enamored with this assault.
He says, "You waste time, old man, and you need your speed. Please, don't waste your breath. This is happening either way. You need to go."
You're the Prince Gold, aren't you?
He sucks in his breath and he says, "No one will believe you. It's not worth the trouble. Don't get involved in this."
Well, Prince, I assure you, I have been around the block, and I know that you have vows with the leader of this country here. And if you seek bloodshed, if you seek to fight, I and my town here will stand and meet you.
He says, "This is nonsense. Everyone, go! Go!" He's looking around. Some of the peasants are pretending to gather their things to give some believability to it, but as he's delayed here, he's beginning to scan the houses and look for people. And not as many people as he should be seeing leeway is occurring to you. What are you going to do?
These are my people. We have lived here a long time. We are loyal to Yannick, Lord Yannick. So,
You don't need to die for this. This is between our families.
between our families, this is between our countries. And I have vowed my life to my country.
Old man, you will not dissuade me. We ride! Everyone, run for your lives! And he spurs his horse on, and he's trying to go past you. What do? Do you try and block him? Like just stand right in front of him?
Yeah, absolutely.
He won't ride his horse through you, and he says, "Old man, this is a Death Strider. It will tear you apart with its hooves. Get out of the way, it will kill you."
Then tear me apart. If you would tear my city apart, my town apart, my country apart.
You've already named why this cannot be full war. Go now. One village burns on the border. Get out of here. You cannot change it. You cannot change the fate you are dealt, no matter how bitter the hand. I would that I could.
Can't you? Why not? Why can't you change your destiny?
He looks to the south, and there's already dust plumes forming. He says, "There's no time for philosophy, old man. Run!" And he brings his horse right up, and he tries to get past you. He tries to just run around you. Do you try and what do you do? What do you do when he's trying to move himself around you?
I'll let him go.
All right.
I'll let him go. It seems like nothing will dissuade him. Nothing is going to change his mind. He's so adamant, and I've seen that before.
Yeah, so he rides around, dust pulling up. He's like, "Run! Ron, he's looking around the houses. Not all these houses are looking very peopled at the moment, suspiciously so. What's the play here? Dangerous to go alone, though. You know that there is a clothesline that's been left out that if only someone looked like they were tending it, that would be a really nice, believable touch, wouldn't it?
I would love to create a little minor illusion there to make it seem like there's someone that's dealing with it, and then they see him, and then that person immediately starts to move.
Judge Wolf, you see mud scales. They are fish that burrow into the mud to rest during the day and come out at night. However, when they are forced to come out at night, they frenzy and bite viciously at the ankles of all crossing through. You think if you were to disrupt them, they would emerge. And Judge Wolf, Yannick is watching this. You're like 200 feet away from him, but you do get a good sight. He has his helmet very loosely fixed, in part so that he can throw off his visor really quickly and shout to the people. But that's a vulnerability. If he doesn't properly reaffix it, you're going to be able to knock off his helmet in combat.
Understood.
And it,
So
that's hard to do while you're in the saddle.
I'm gonna totally mentally note this mud skipper bit to Fazzle down there to the south. Like I'm just like really just think there's also fish instead of just bugs.
Yeah, so Fazzle's aware of the bugs, you're aware of the helmet, and Li Wei, as Conrad's looking around, he's starting to slow down, almost saying, "People, where are you? Go out from your homes." He's starting to not buy it. What are you doing? What are you doing, Li Wei? How are you selling it?
I'm calling out. Like, I create that illusion of that one person who seems to be buying it.
On the line, on the clothesline, he's like, "Oh, go!" And that he keeps going, and you call out to him.
Yeah, I'll say, "I told you, there may be one or two that will run, but we are here. Come as you will, as you may."
And he says,
Smart.
And then he says, "Ours is a cruel world. Whoever dies on this field, in the next life may I be born your son instead." And he spurs on his horse. And everyone's lying in wait. They have their orders. They're well trained. They're not jumping the gun. But you see him, Yannick. You see him disappearing. You don't know if you're ever going to have another... You let him go?
I let him go.
You let him go.
As I said,
The column begins to emerge. You see a banner... You see... They're not flying any colors, but he runs to his column, right? He's got the column that's arriving on the battlefield and spraying out a little, and he yells at them. And there's kind of like some uncertainty, and like heavy ritters come out, and after a moment, and like people are like filing up, these golden thorn units that look a little different raise their banners, which they're not supposed to do, by the way. This is supposed to be a false flag deniable op. But he's still ordering the Golden Thorns to run up their banners. And guess what? You have good fucking intel. So you know who his companions are who come up to his side, and you know how many, what the stats are like on their units. So, bam. You guys know the Gold Thorns are motherfuckers with spears. They're Raider Cavalry, light and disposable, easily destroyed. They're crossbowmen, not bad. They're crossbowmen, though. Heavy hit, gotta reload. They're heavy ritters, they're heavy ritters. Swordsman, spearman, bog standard. He's leading his column with the Golden Thorns. And Conrad Gold is leading from the front between his units of heavy ritters with a scored woman known as Sveraj the Bloodletter. And Sveraj, you don't know why she's here, but you've heard she's jonesing for a fight. Charles Lott the Rondel is known to be a bit of a rake and a scoundrel, well liked by his men, considered of poor moral character because he once stabbed a dude in the back during a duel after tricking him. They are riding as his Fook gang, and most raiders wouldn't necessarily have an organized Fook gang, but Conrad is kind of the guy who always keeps the appearance of proper military order, even when compelled to do something dastardly. So the Golden Thorns have proper Golden Rosemont standards, and Sashimono's affixed. And he compels his ritters to compel, at least some of them affix Sashimono. And he affixes a Sashimono that is of a rose, but it is not actually a gold rose, it's a black rose. And
does that mean anything to me?
You've seen the black rose, and you know that your ancestor, your common ancestor, who all the roses come back from, the Rosenhammer, his sigil was the black rose.
and it is sometimes seen as a symbol of rebellion, but is also deeply associated with your nature and who you are. He is invoking a shared origin, and who he a noble who betrayed the Empire after coming to save it in a very complicated way. And yeah, the heavy ridders barrel forth. The enemy are forming in. They're following the line. He is at the tip.
Okay, I can't see the map up north anymore. All I can see is the one down south.
Shit, that's so. Click off. Drag off of that guy. Can you see now?
I am. There we go.
Drag a random
Got
box.
it.
Yeah.
Got it.
You just click on your guy in the
Yep.
north. Yep.
All right.
And so they're forced into single filing, right? And what they do is they order a company halt, and some of the crossbowmen come up towards the river, and the cavalry are what's left riding in, and the cavalry approach where Fazil is, thundering in, and at the same time Conrad is crossing the bridge. He's gotten here. No one is jumping him yet. But he is leaving the Golden Thorns on this side of the river, and these guys are spraying out across the road, and the crossbowmen are moving up into a position to open fire. The rest of the soldiers are coming up, but he's trying to get some of his swordsmen to
So
be
this is whenever he starts to cross the rivers, whenever the peasant levies would have been ordered to begin to try to move forward, like, we're coming up to fight.
Yeah, they run up and they see this, and he actually orders company halt on his head rooters. You can tell they're jonesing yet. Some of them dive to the mud. Some of them like rush forward, and he says, "Back! I give you back one order. Stand and die." And the peasant levies ordered to look disorderly. Some of them with like their boots halfway on, like whoa, whoa, and they're starting to run. And yeah, he's rushing in behind as he's clearly having his men give chase, but not yet ordering them to engage. He's slinking out a one by one. The unit is unspooling. Some crossbowmen are folding out into positions along the river, and these swordsmen fall in here. The play goes off as intended. Lee Wei, here's a question: where do you go? Are you still playing the old man, and where do you go?
Still the old man, right in the middle of the street.
old man, stay a while and listen.
The old
Yes.
so the levies position themselves for a final stand at their shrine, and the torches come out, and these guys, as they crash into where Basil is, you're about to emerge, and Yannick, Conrad is rid up to, and Li Wei, are you standing by their side? Are you standing still right in the road?
Right in the road. I told him what I was doing.
Conrad runs by, he sees you, he sees the men, and he says, "Sunde upon me. May the saints guide you," and gives you the flat of his blade as he rides by.
And so the minute right now, right, whenever most of the forces are beginning to move in,
Okay,
there is this massive, or from inside of the woods, I look back at my men and I pull out my sword and I say, "These bastards return our friendship with blood, hate, and anger. It is time for this to end. Today is the day that we send them with their tails between their legs, and we begin our encroachment upon their land. No more will people come upon our land and look at us as weak." And then there's this.
Yeah, Emerald rises. Everyone breaks forth. The guys with the torches here to burn the village ready to Fazil as their horses start to cry out, and someone's yelling, "Ants! Ants!" And
Oh shit! I put that in the wrong spot.
yeah, Li Wei, you get slapped across the face real hard, and then
Okay.
all of a sudden,
How do I move this?
the houses are opening, the same way that you do in normal Foundry.
I'm not familiar with Foundry.
Move. You click yourself and
Try
drag
to
yourself.
No, I'm trying
Oh.
to select this
The
fog
radius?
cloud
Yeah,
I put down.
you just mouse over and hit delete.
Oh,
I mouse over and what? Oh, it disappeared.
Yeah, I got it. You fog cloud. It's 100 feet squares. So yeah, you're fog clouding yourself.
Yes.
The fog cloud emerges all around the rear cavalry in disarray, and yeah, Icon von Ortel gives the order to stand and charge, striking a flanking, and Boyar Zdan Thorslava has the same. Arrows are pouring out, and
The archers are focused, are been told to focus on those with the banners, right? The golden thorns.
all right, so the enemy crossbowmen realize, oh shit, we do not have that long to get into position. Everyone comes in, everyone rides in, and we have a snapshot here. We cut Yannick running out with his men, blade in hand, riding with the Emerald Fist, about to crash into the enemy flanks. We have Kurai rushing out to the edge to begin pelting with arrows the enemy crossbowmen as he orders his archers to let loose. You have the Veil Blades coming out of the houses. We have Yo organizing from the shrine, watching it unfold. Icon von Ortel coming out, Zweihander in hand, yelling, charge! Boyar Zdan Torslava ordering his Yama Jaeger to let loose a hearty pelting before emerging from the woods. And Basil, as you emerge from the mud, fish and insects joining you, what are you thinking?
Oh, I use fog cloud and I tackle.
All right, the fog sets in. You're in a Silent Hill level. The fish are about to start biting the moment you upend them. The ants are going for it. They haven't even met the worst shit yet with all the hornets' nests in the broken crossing they told was going to be good. So yeah. Meanwhile, Li Wei, you've just taken a hard flat of the blade, knocking you almost on your ass. Blood breaks. You feel a tooth loose as he rides by. What are you thinking in that moment as the fresh sting of pain reverberates through your skull and you realize you're stood in the lane, surrounded by heavy fucking ritters?
yeah. At this point, it's just like I imagine, because I see Conrad Gold, and he's one that seems to have accepted his role, his fate in life. And though I am surrounded by these heavy ritters, I look around and I think, that's not the life for me. My life, I chose. I made the decision. And I was able to change my fate. So,
All right.
we meet in battle.
All right, Yannick. It is your turn. No, you're not your turn. It is your thought. Give me. You're rushing down the hill. You see the gold rose who you'd once hoped to make allies have now set in the stone of their hearts to upon this village of yours. You will not have it. What do you what are you thinking as you rush down that hill on your horseback, bull's kiss in hand, the enemy right before you as the Emerald Fists are about to kill the first men they have killed as a proper company?
Rage is going through Yannick right now. This is not something he should have to deal with. He thought that given the connection that him and Conrad had started to build, that perhaps he could be dissuaded from all of this by just using his head and seeing that this is wrong. But he's wrong, right? Yannick was wrong. And so now the time for those types of caring and loving thoughts are over, and now it is the way of the fist, and this gold is going to learn how strong Emerald really is.
All right. So, the ambush is sprung. This battle was supposed to end the end of 2 episodes ago now, but we are going to come back on this. We're going to clean it up, and last time could be the finale, depending. I'm not going to cut it early. I know how this how Book Zero ends. So we have 1 to 2 weeks left, depending if we get through it. It's going to be epic. Bring your popcorn.
All
Bring your kids. Bring your
right.
moms. We're going to have a grand old time. And this was Reign of Roses. Episode 7. Friends Aflame.
Hell
and with
yeah.
that, we are going to pump out a raid across the Dieselverse. to go say hello to somebody else. And yeah, just thank you all for coming. It has been an honor and a pleasure to game with these fine people tonight, with all of you in accompaniment. So let me just find. Yeah, you know what? I think Steam Steel Murder is getting a raid.
The honor's all ours, Lee.
Oh.
Yes.
Alright, we're pumping the raid, everyone. Nothing goes wrong on raids. I mean, they're just a bunch of peasants and an old man who won't leave, right?
Right.
Oh, they're running back for their shrine. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm hitting raid now.